sir. Namaskar.
Namaskar, sir.
Good morning, all the learned experts from the various segments of the AYUSH. It is a great privilege to have this breakout session as far as the breakout session as far as AYUSH is concerned. It is a remarkable occasion since very specific budget announcements related to various aspects of the AYUSH has been announced by the Honorable Finance Minister, and now we are in a position to spearhead the entire AYUSH ecosystem into a very bright future. So whatever we have consolidated so far in the AYUSH sector, similarly, whatever we are going to do through these specific budget announcements will be considered as instrumental in spearheading the entire AYUSH growth and development in the immediate future. So in that context, I would like to welcome our Honorable Secretary AYUSH, Vaidya Rajesh Kotecha ji, and also we have with our Additional Secretary and Financial Advisor, Vaidya Abbas ji. He is also an eminent panelist. Then we have with us Madam Manisha Kotekar ji, who is the chairperson of the National Commission of Indian Institute of Medicine, and Vaidya Devendra Trigunaji is also going to be join us with. He is a GB member as well as the learned Ayurveda practitioner, and we have Sri Shobit Jain, Principal Secretary from AYUSH from Madhya Pradesh. Then we have Rajiv Vasudevanji, CEO Apollo Ayurveda Hospitals, Madam Tanuja Manoj Nesari, Director ITRA Jamnagar. Then we have Dr. Geeta Krishnan G. Pillai, Unit Head GTMC Jamnagar. We have Dr. D. Ramanathan, General Secretary Ayurveda Medicine Manufacturers Organization of India. And we have Raman Mohan Singh ji, Director Pharmacopoeia Commission of Indian Medicine and Homeopathy. And of course, there is a leader from the industry, Dr. C.K. Katia, former Vice President and Head R&D, Dabur India Limited. So this is a versatile group of experts who will be discussing on all these budget announcements specifically. So before going into the detailed discussions, we will have a small brief on what is the current status in which we are actually going in the AYUSH sector, and also what are the specific future directions which we can engage as far as these budget announcements are concerned. Can we go the PPT? Yeah. Next. Okay. So as you are aware that the traditional medicines, including our AYUSH systems, are widely practiced in 170 of 194 WHO member states. So this itself shows that there is a growing awareness and a growing importance given to the traditional medical systems overall in the world. In the Indian context, National Sample Survey Organization 79th round 2022-23 showed 95 to 96% of our population are aware about the AYUSH systems of medicine, with a significant usage pattern, particularly in the context of the yoga. 2.5 crore households are practicing yoga regularly. In addition to that, the report also highlighted 45 to 46% of our populations are actually using the AYUSH systems of medicines in the rural and urban settings. India's G20 presidency elevated global recognition through the Delhi Declaration on Traditional Medicine, promoting evidence-based integration, digital innovation, and regulatory harmonizations. So now we are in a position to take the lead in this context, in the global context also. AYUSH sector has expanded eightfold to a US $14.4 billion market, and that itself is signifying that where the future lies for the AYUSH. And as an institutional mechanism, Ministry of Commerce notified AYUSH Excel with the support of the Ministry of AYUSH for aligning this export and import ecosystem. So there we foresee a lot of initiatives by the upgradation of the pharmacies and laboratories, which is actually setting a specific tone for the entire AYUSH industry. Similarly, Indian medical value travel segment projected to reach US dollar for 13.42 billion by 2026. This is itself shows that whatever ecosystem so far created during the last 1 decade has been started to pay dividends as far as the AYUSH is concerned. India hosts WHO Global Traditional Medicine Center, positioning Jamnagar as a global hub for traditional medicine leadership. This is the first the UN outpost that actually you can see in our country. So whether it is in the education, whether it is in the research, whether it is in the international cooperations, India is now taking the lead as far as AYUSH is concerned. Institute of Teaching and Research in Ayurveda at Jamnagar is actually declared as an institute of national importance. Next. Yes. So as far as the specific budget announcements of the Ministry of AYUSH are concerned, there are 2 budget announcements in which AYUSH is also a strong partner. Budget announcement number 54, a strong care ecosystem covering geriatric and allied care services will be built. A variety of NSQF aligned programs will be developed to train multi-skilled caregivers combining core care and allied skills such as wellness, yoga, and operation of medical and assistive devices. In the coming year, 1.5 lakh caregivers will be trained. So here also, the AYUSH, the caregivers will be one of the important segment of this entire budget announcement. Similarly, budget announcement 55, to promote India as a hub for medical tourism services, I propose to launch a scheme to support states in establishing 5 regional medical hubs in partnership with the private sector. These hubs will serve as integrated healthcare complexes that combine medical, educational, and research facilities. They will have AYUSH centers, medical value tourism facilitation centers, and infrastructure for diagnostics, post-care, and rehabilitation. These hubs will provide diverse job opportunities for health professionals, including doctors and AHPs, allied health practitioners. So specifically, the AYUSH systems should be integrated in these 5 regional medical hubs. That is what it is envisaged as far as this specific budget announcement are concerned. Next. With coming to the specific budget announcement for the Ministry of AYUSH 58, it is proposed that set up 3 new All India Institute of Ayurveda. Second one, upgrade AYUSH pharmacies and drug testing laboratories for higher standards of certification ecosystem and make available more skilled personnel. And third one, upgrade the WHO Global Traditional Medicine Center in Jamnagar to bolster evidence-based research, training, and awareness for traditional medicines. So these 3 specific announcements for the Ministry of AYUSH signifies in the education ecosystem, research ecosystem. Similarly, the drug regulations as far as the upgradation of the pharmacies and drug testing laboratory systems are concerned, quality certification systems are concerned, and also the international engagement and international cooperations are concerned. So this is an overarching budget announcement for the entire Ministry of AYUSH. Next. Simultaneously, when we speak about what are the current challenges that we are facing in the context of AYUSH are concerned, we have large number of postgraduate institutes, which is actually in the states and UTs and collectively owned by the Ministry of AYUSH. And however, there is a need for more number of postgraduate seats as well as super specialty capacity has to be more and more strengthened. Another point is need for stronger scientific validation and advanced research in traditional systems. We have already the AYUSH portal, which actually documented more than 43,000 of research documentations at various levels of evidence. However, the robustness and more scientific validation by collaborative research studies are the need of the hour. There is a limited private incentives which make fundamental research primarily a public sector responsibility. So shouldering the responsibility with the private sector as far as the very specific clinical trials or preclinical trials, that is the need of the hour. Quality inconsistencies, limited testing infrastructure, regulatory gaps, skilled manpower in the pharmaceutical sector, because the regulatory strengthening is one of the hallmark wherein our products and services definitely will be taken into care when we actually exporting to the global market. So in that context, there is a more attention is required as far as the testing infrastructure, laboratory systems, the entire hierarchy of the laboratory system. Similarly, the required skilled manpower to man these facilities, whether it is a laboratory, whether it is a pharmacies, whether it is entire regulatory ecosystem. There is a requirement of the global standards harmonization and institutional strengthening. Similarly, sustained institutional strengthening for global standards alignment, interoperable data framework, and the leadership in the traditional medicines are one of the challenges that we have identified. Next. Strengthening the institutional infrastructure and expanding quality healthcare services should be our strategic vision. To achieve these strategic visions, how we can align this budget announcement, that should be our discussion points. Promoting research, innovation, and digital integration to enable data-driven governance and evidence-based advancement is also one of the strategy that we have to devise. Enhancing global collaboration through strategic branding, international positioning, and leadership initiative. Capacity building and skill development simultaneously has to be focused during our entire deliberations. Public outreach and awareness generation, and also the role of the public-private partnership promotion as far as in all aspects of this AYUSH is also can be explored. Next. Establish 3 new AYA-like institutes as center of excellence with specialty disciplines, integrative tertiary hospitals, research-intensive departments, and international collaborations, which are the specific areas in which these IAs has to be excelled based on the benchmark already created by All India Institute of Ayurveda, New Delhi, as well as Goa. Then definitely we can have that futuristic vision as far as the education, research, and even the clinical services are concerned. Similarly, develop 5 regional advanced drug testing laboratory hubs with the state and private laboratories as spokes. So if you want to develop the entire drug testing laboratory in the country, we have to envisage a model of hierarchy in which there is a large number of spokes of laboratories which may doing the primary laboratory testing, whereas the secondary level of drug testing laboratories as acting as hubs in the different regions of the country. Similarly, our Pharmacopoeia Commission of Indian Medicine specifically is overseeing all these laboratory functions in the country so that it will act as an appellate laboratory. Similarly, strengthen the GMP compliance, regulatory training, and MSME handholding alongside infrastructure upgrades, because so far whatever the schematic provisions that we have addressed to cater the large needs of the industry through the central sector scheme of AYUSH Aushadhi Gunavatta Samvardhan Yojana. However, there is more inclusiveness as far as the schematic provisions are concerned. It is hope that the budget announcement, through this budget announcement, we can have more and more number of MSMEs also to come for the quality upgradation, the laboratory enhancement, the laboratory infrastructure enhancement. Similarly, expand the AYUSH Aushadhi Gunavatta Evam Utpadan Samvardhan Yojana framework and operationalize AYUSH quality mark to enhance export competitiveness, because you may be knowing that our Honorable PM has actually launched the AYUSH quality mark to make the competitiveness of the Indian products and services at the global market. So that ecosystem has to be further strengthened, and so that it will be very well aligned with the other aspects of the GMP, drug testing laboratories, and even the pharmacy upgradation, so that there is a uniform, streamlined mechanism for the entire system of this drug testing and the drug enforcement. Next. So basically, the discussion points can be centered on upgrade that global traditional medicine center with advanced research infrastructure, digital informatics platforms, global fellowships and training modules, establish a specialized facilities including global traditional medicine village, medicinal plant business center, and super specialty Ayurveda hospital, and also position Jamnagar as a Ayurveda city, integrating healthcare, biodiversity, innovation, and sustainable development. This will essentially will have all the components which is required for a international center for traditional medicine, including the medical value travel and all the ecosystems which are required for starting from the raw material to the ultimate finished services and the products. Next. So our session outline will be like that. As you know, the thematic segments, the expansion of the Apex institution, education and tertiary healthcare institution, strengthening the quality certification, regulatory frameworks and pharmaceutical competitiveness, global leadership through GTMC, and implementation of international commitments. So the discussion can be centered around these three broad thematic segments. The questions will be shared to the concerned panelists as per their expertise, and based on that we can have a summary way forward also. So we have the panelists, as I mentioned earlier, from different segments of the AYUSH, representing the government, the private, as well as the academicians and even the industry. Ovaida Abbas sir hai already our AS and FA from the Ministry of AYUSH, who will guide us on the budget planning as well as the financial prudence and how it can be taken forward by these budget announcements. Madam Tanuja Manoj Nesri, with her very vast experience as a director of All India Institute of Ayurveda, New Delhi, and now she has taken the charge of the ITRA Jamnagar, and how a benchmarking already done by the IA New Delhi can be replicated to other three institutes also will be shared by her. Then we have from the state government represented by Shobit Jain sir, Principal Secretary, Department of AYUSH, Government of Madhya Pradesh, who will share the experiences in the state and what are the expectations from the state and the UTs in general as far as these budget announcements are concerned. We have Professor Manisha Kotekar ma'am, Chairman, National Commission of Indian Institute of Medicines, whereas the tertiary care, as far as the education systems are concerned, how it can be appropriately aligned with the perspectives of the national commissions, the regulatory commissions, and even how the scope of the entire education ecosystem can be expanded to the whole country. Similarly, we have Rajiv Vasudevan, CEO Apollo Ayurveda Hospital, who has already created a niche of its own in the integrated healthcare, specifically addressing what are the quality aspects, quality standards which are required to be undertaken. We have Dr. Geeta Krishnan, Unit Head, TMRDI, GTMC, Jamnagar, and he will be guiding us on how the GTMC can be further strengthened in terms of various research as well as the capacity building initiatives, and how it can be taken ahead as a global UN outpost. Similarly, Dr. D. Ramanathan, General Secretary, Ayurveda Medical Manufacturing Organization of India, who is actually representing the industry, particularly the manufacturing industry and including the service industry, where he will throw light on very specifically on what are the perceptions of the industry, and also how hand in hand they can go with the government to further this budget announcements. We have Vaidya Devendra Trigunaji. He is the GB member, Rashtriya Ayurveda Vidyapith, and eminent practitioner. Chairman. Yes, sorry, GB Chairman, Rashtriya Ayurveda Vidyapith, who will guide us on how, as a practitioners, how the classical Ayurveda should be integrated, and also what is the need of the capacity building initiatives in the AYUSH ecosystem. we have Dr. C.K. Katia, former Vice President and Head R&D Dabur India Limited, with his vast experience in this pharma sector, as well as specific to AYUSH pharma sector. He will guide us how this drug testing laboratory ecosystem and pharmacy ecosystem can be further strengthened. We have also Dr. Raman Mohan Singh, Director Pharmacopoeia Commission for Indian Medicine and Homeopathy, who will be having a great role as far as in furthering this entire this budget announcement, particularly this upgradation of the pharmacies and drug testing laboratories are concerned. Next. So the envisaged outcomes out of this, our deliberation should be, we should have a very clear roadmap for establishing 3 new AYA institutes. There is a strategy to be developed to accelerate evidence-based research in AYUSH systems, operationalization plan for 5 region drug testing laboratory network, strengthen quality certification ecosystem for AYUSH products, then strategic framework for upgradation of the GTMC as a global center of excellence, enhanced position of India as a global leader in traditional medicine, expanded contribution of AYUSH systems towards universal health coverage and health for all. So with this brief background setting, now I would like to go with each of the panelists. Next. Yes, and currently there is an implementation plan also suggested because certain actions have already been taken by us actually. For example, in the context of the setting up of 3 new All India Institute of Ayurveda, setting up of 3 new All India Institute of Ayurveda is a key component and of a broader scheme proposal, namely Pradhan Mantri Ayush Samagra Swasthya Yojana. This is actually envisioned as a major augmentation of the infrastructure for higher medical education, advanced healthcare, and evidence-based research. Similarly, upgrade AYUSH pharmacies and drug testing labs for higher standards of certification ecosystem and make available more skilled personnel. Ministry of AYUSH has initiated a central sector scheme called AYUSH Aushadhi Gunavatta Evam Utpadan Samvardhan Yojana. The scheme aims to enhance the quality of AYUSH drugs, promote the growth of the AYUSH drug industry, and strengthen the regulatory framework of achieving clearly defined objectives and outcomes. However, it continues to face structural and operational challenges such as inconsistent quality standards, limited testing and certification infrastructure, and difficulty in meeting global regulatory requirements. Next. Upgrade the WHO Global Traditional Medicine Center in Jamnagar to bolster evidence-based research, training, and awareness of traditional medicine. The Ministry of AYUSH has envisioned Pradhan Mantri AYUSH Samagra Swasthya Yojana scheme with a key component involving upgradation of the peripheral ecosystem around the WHO Global Traditional Medicine Center at Jamnagar. It includes advanced Ayurveda hospitals to promote evidence-based research for training medical value travel, setting up of a global traditional medicine museum, a herbal garden, and state-of-the-art yoga centers across WHO GTMC campus. It will facilitate development of Jamnagar as an UN outpost, family duty station, globally recognized hub, and learning space for traditional medicine. Next. So with this, the initial context setting, I hope that I could make to that extent. So now we will dwell into the detailed discussions of with each of the panelists. So in this first, I would like to go with our Additional Secretary and Financial Advisor, Sri Hoveida Abbasji. Sir, could you highlight the key budgetary priorities and financial allocations for the AYUSH sector and how they aim to accelerate growth across research, education, and healthcare delivery?
Namaskar, sabko namaskar. If you look into the budgetary provision and framework, then you'll have to look from the perspective of 3-4 things. One, the budgetary provision and how has it evolved over a period of 3 to 4 years, 5 years maybe.
बस जी आपका वीडियो ऑन कर सकते हैं प्लीज so that we all can see you if it is possible.
सर मेरा वीडियो ऑन है?
अच्छा, यहाँ से शायद कोई टेक्निकल ग्लिच है.
फिर से एक बार करता हूँ. Now can it be visible?
Yes, sir.
So I'm saying the provision and the budgetary framework has to be understood in the following manner. One, the actual framework that we are pursuing, and that is through the centrally sponsored schemes, central sector schemes, and the institutes and the councils that we have. So all together, It's subscribing to the fact of research, medicinal quality, expansion of schemes, support to human resources, education, IEC, that is information, education and communication, international cooperation. So the framework through the centrally sponsored schemes, central sector schemes, institutions and councils is one that is providing the entire support system for the budget. Second one is the schemes which are running parallel to the finance commission cycles. For example, 5-year cycles of finance commission. So the next cycle now going to start from 1st of April 2026, that is the 16th finance commission. So how many of these schemes are going to come into continuation? How many are going to merge? How many new schemes will come? It will depend on the finality by the government. The third thing is the portion relating to the budgetary provision. That means allocation in the budget for per se. So within the framework decided between the council research, between the schemes, central and the state, as well as the finance commission cycle, and whatever scheme that we are going to run for the purpose of quality, dissemination, branding, quality, etc. That would depend on the budgetary provision as well as the absorption capacity. As of now, if we look at the budget for last 3 years, say for example 24-25, 25-26, 26-27, the one which is proposed, then in totality, our budget for the AYUSH ministry has gone up from 33,000 crore to, I'm taking a lump sum, to the budget of 39,000 or 40,000 crore, 4,000 crore, from 3,300 crore to 4,000 crore, and actual RE is around 36,071 crore, but the BE is around 4,400 crore. So around 10 to 15 to 20% variation is there. Now we have to understand one thing, that how budgeting works or the planning works. There would be capital investment, and the uphill will go up when the capital investment goes up. For example, creation of all the institutes, structures, buildings, which now will be for the 3 All India institutes. So capital expenditure again will go up. Once the capital expenditure goes up, then initially maybe recurring expenditure will be less, but slowly recurring expenditure will start going up and capital expenditure starts going down. So if we look at the combination of capital expenditure and the recurring expenditure in the sense of operational expenditure, then a balance has to be managed. So once the capital expenditure has been made, the recurring expenditure has to be managed. The second observation that I have to make is regarding National AYUSH Mission, which is the state centrally sponsored scheme implemented by the state mostly. My understanding for last maybe more or less 1 year is that we have the state annual plan. We also have to approve them annually, and then we have to spend. Then a structural disruption came in the form of Aspirations, that is a technological intervention for the purpose of payment system. So combined together with delay in the finalization of the SAP, as well as in the stabilization of the Aspirations, our expenditure in AYUSH has really gone down. So that set up next time, because this is a flagship scheme, and the dissemination of all the AYUSH related activities in the state is dependent upon the NAM. So my understanding is that, and suggestion earlier also I have given, that we may consider finalizing maybe 2 years biennial SAP to be reviewed after 1 year and then finalized, so that disruption does not take place. The second suggestion that I have to make for the speedy expenditure in the AYUSH NAM scheme is that maybe in the first quarter, even if it has not been finalized, on the line of provisionally finalized scheme, the advance money should be released in the month of April, so that first quarter absorption also takes place. And possibly also, there would be liabilities from the previous year. So reviewing the liability as well as the forthcoming provisional schemes, I mean, the money must be spent right from the April itself. So these are my 2 suggestions with regard to expediting expenditure in the AYUSH mission. With regard to the new schemes that are going to be aligned with the 16th FC, now we are in the midst of finalization. The matter is still with the Ministry of Finance. So we are pursuing with it, but I believe it may take some more time. And my understanding is the Finance Ministry may give us a go ahead to go by 1 or 2 months on the basis of the already existing scheme guidelines and purposes. So we have to alive to this. And my understanding is that Ayush Ministry may like to reorient the focus on both central sector schemes expenditure as well as NAM. So some kind of hiccups in terms of procedures and all has to be also dealt with. Say, for example, utilization certificate not coming in the time being, so how to deal with it, how to request the states to also make more focused approach where the department is specifically not carved out for the purpose of implementation of AYUSH separately. So I believe there are around 15 to 16 steps or some kind of a structure which are separately dealing with the AYUSH, but other states and UTs may not have AYUSH as a separate structure. So that could also be focused. These were my some interventions, and if need be, I can be open to answers subsequently.
Yeah. Thank you. That was a very brief insights into how the financial flow can be streamlined, and this will be the guiding principle even for these three specific budget announcement that has been made. That is what, because based on the current trend of the expenditure pattern as well as the absorbing capacity of even the states and UTs, you have appropriately guided us actually how to go forward that one. Now coming to the from different sector altogether, that is from the perspective of the private sector, how as Rajiv Vasudevanji, how as Ayush healthcare services expand, what steps are needed to benchmark quality standards and clinical protocols to ensure credibility and patient safety across the Ayush sector? Since you are already have been associated with various quality certification systems also, and practically demonstrated how the quality certification system can imbibe into the healthcare system, and so that the appropriate integration can be made into the conventional systems of healthcare also. So please.
Namaste to all. It's a great pleasure and a privilege to be here with everybody. And namaste Rajesh ji and all esteemed panelists who are attending. See, the two questions that you've asked, Raghuji, I would like to say that we have to see the context in which we need to define a response. So, as we would say, begin with the end in mind. Where are we actually trying to go with this benchmarking of quality standards to build credibility? And when you look at this, I just want to play some data. If you look at AIIMS New Delhi, every day they see about 12 to 15,000 patients per day. All India Institute of Medical Sciences, Jammu, sees about 3 to 4K patients a day. All India Institute of Ayurveda, which is the absolutely a premier institution, sees about 2,000 patients a day, 2 to 2.5 depending on the range. And NIA ITRA sees about 1.5 to 2K per day. So there is a 6x to 8x increase that we need to see, and quality standards need to look at how to respond to this type of volumes. Now, I will go look through the All India Institute of Ayurveda lens and then come back to the larger issues facing us. If you look at AIIMS Delhi, very, very relevant that 15% of healthcare demand is for genitourinary and cancer. 15%, 15%. It seems very vague. In Delhi, we would have assumed pulmonary diseases or maybe metabolic syndrome, etc. Musculoskeletal is 2.8%, respiratory is 2.5%. So something is strange. But how do we leverage this data? Wherever our All India Institutes of Ayurveda are present and where we propose to set up, how do we complement and supplement what the conventional medical system is doing is one point. Secondly, we have a situation where even after Ayushman Bharat, all the schemes which is there, 40% plus is spent on out-of-pocket expenses, of which a bulk is going for non-communicable disease, lifestyle disorders, chronic diseases. What is the role Ayurveda clinics, hospitals can play in reducing this? These are the opportunities before us. Can we look at a regional health strategy built around our Ayas and our Ayushman Arogya Mandirs? Right, is a question. Can we look at it from a health system perspective, not just look at an All India Institute of Ayurveda, but look at it as a health system where you have the public sector, the private sector, medical colleges, individual practitioners. How do they come together? We have 5,000 PG seats each year. And just in the national institutes, 250 PG seats every year, another 150 coming up with these new 3 institutes. That means 400 students a year intake into PG? How do we leverage synergies across 5,000 and maybe these 400 elite PG scholars? If we look at the customer, is a customer local, is a customer global? And I want to bring this part very clearly that when we define Ayurveda as a Chikitsa Sampradaya and not, I know this is a very old point for me, not as Aushadha Sampradaya, not as just Ahara, Vihara, Vichara, Aushadha, Kriya, everything together, then the scope of what we are trying to do across the life cycle increases tremendously. Honorable Prime Minister spoke about care economy. New training models required partnerships. How do we link with all the other departments in a whole of government approach? How do we leverage AI and digital health strategy? Okay, in this totality. So in this context, my recommendations are as follows. So Rajeshji, I feel it is time for us to look at a innovation network. I'm calling it by that name. A global Ayurveda innovation network, which connects all the stakeholders in an innovation ecosystem. I'll tell you who are the players. For example, I put in the 2 IRs, NIA, the ITRA, and 3 new IRs, maybe select centers of excellence in education across the country. Look at private healthcare organizations, look at drug testing labs, look at the public health system, where today we have a very fragmented system, right? And when you bring in the WHO GTMC and the AYUSH grid, when you bring all these things together, can we look at a way that not just Indian HCOs, but global HCOs, whether it's a Johns Hopkins or it is a Yale or any university of excellence, could connect with the AYUSH, with the global Ayurveda Innovation Network. So this is a higher level going beyond our existing model of AYUSH grid, which is a platform, but we create a physical and digital virtual network of institutions who want to work in precision Ayurveda and integrative medicine. We have a wonderful opportunity. So my suggestion is that we need to go beyond the physical to really look at the larger vision. Where do you want to go? With this in mind, if we create this GAIN network, each IR would be a lead institution for certain diseases that we believe are locally relevant. If it is north, west, east, south, we take 3 districts adjoining that particular area and then see what is most relevant to the people of that region. Disease management protocols, evidence gathering, safety monitoring, standardization, right, for those diseases. So we get a very focused IR. That IR will coordinate across the country with all like-minded stakeholders from Kerala to Kanyakumari, from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, right, from Assam to Gujarat. That way, each IR will become a center of excellence with a vision for growth. Number 2, look at themes like whole person care, where Ayurveda can completely beat modern medicine or complement, supplement modern medicine. When we look at multimorbidity today as an issue, no health policy in the world is addressing it. Our AYUSH ministry can take it up as a calling card and say, we take up whole person care, where 50 to 60%, even in a state like Kerala, 60% of people have multimorbidity. And particularly as you age, only Ayurveda can deal with the person as a whole. So we look at whole person care, life cycle health management, take things like gut microbiome. One IR becomes an expert in gut microbiome. Everything we put there, and that becomes a reference center to collaborate with the whole country. We should enroll affiliate allopathy hospital. And this is a fundamental difference I'm suggesting, Rajeshji and other esteemed guests. Today, an Ayurveda center will go into an allopathy hospital like AIMS and set up an Ayurveda unit inside. Why don't, and I know the very good example of IR Delhi, where you had invited a senior orthopedician to come and start, and he's told me that his complete mindset changed after he came to IR. So why don't we look at in IR, the reverse thing happening, where you put a allopathy set of doctors who are working inside all the IRs, maybe post-retirement senior people whom we are able to bring in. Every department, we are bringing an integrated thing, because Ayurveda, I think, eventually is emerging as integrative Ayurveda approaches, where we don't do mixopathy, but we use appropriate anatomy, physiology, medical technology to bring this in. So there is a reverse migration of allopathy doctors coming into Ayurveda institutions of excellence. Similarly, why this becomes very important, I want to say, this networking. The world will come to Ayurveda sector because the moment you have scale, whole person data at scale, when we have this amount of data per rogi, the best universities, the best research institutions will come to India, collaborate, because they want to develop integrative protocols at scale. So this would be a thing. We need to go beyond the AYUSH grid, respected Rajeshji, to look at a digital health grid. I want to put that word because now we are 10 years hence. How do we look at innovation that leverages the complete changes that are happening? 5 years from now, the sector is changing. It's going to be totally different. We need to plan right from now that within the IAS and the rest of the NAM framework, we're able to look at the changes that this can offer. MedTech innovation. The Prime Minister, Honorable Prime Minister, has looked at medical technology as a major area. Wearables. Can Ayurveda bring in wearables into its entire care provision? So data collection. So the vision goes. Data registries. So these are very much possible if we are able to take to AYUSH Grid 2.0. One of my quick recommendations, the Institution of Excellence framework, which the IITs, IIC have, already have. Can the IAS aspire in the next 3 years to rise to a level? The IAS, the NIA, the ITRA, they're already institutions of national importance, but to go to an institution of excellence where they have graded autonomy, industry experts can be affiliated, exactly what the IITs are doing and IIC is doing. If we think towards that, we'll have a very forward-looking dynamic IA. And foreign collaborations are possible. And in the IIT framework today, there's a council for IIT system coordination. So going beyond individual IAs and NIA, ITRA, building an apex council under the Ministry of AYUSH, which will look at synergies across all the IAs and the national institutes. A national research agenda, I know that we have very eminent research experts advising the minister, but in the light of these institutions coming, can we frame formally a national research agenda by consensus? The auxiliary health providers example, and why I bring this up in the context of your question, Raghuji, is because all of this is leading to standards and progress. So take the auxiliary health providers program. Currently, we are talking about wellness and geriatric care and yoga. But look at our own thing without looking at just AHP under the Healthcare Sector Skills Council, in which Ministry of AYUSH is a key player, right, chairing the whole program. Can we look at Ayurveda Paricharaks and also integrative medical care Paricharaks? It's a huge area. Integrative oncology, integrative geriatric care, whether it's for Japan, Germany, Middle East, there's a huge demand. We should look at auxiliary health providers through the HSSC. We are talking about the safety aspect and bringing in high quality, the AYUSH quality mark, looking at setting up multiple labs. If industry and government have to ensure safety, we must make Ayurveda a prescription medicine category compulsorily. Without this, setting up the labs becomes completely optional. Nobody is going to go and do it because it makes no difference. So unless we stipulate and say that we build value, because Rajeshji, everybody is trying to keep costs down. We need to improve quality, help the industry to move to a higher quality, higher value framework. For with these labs which come up, when you make the prescription mandatory, the AYUSH sector will have to go and test the medicines before they sell. So AYUSH mark should become not just a desirable goal, it should become a mandatory goal for the sector. I know there is a phase of transition. Unless we look for it, it won't come. This labs regionally will have to link with the practitioners and with industry. The regional medical hubs is a fantastic idea. I think Ayurveda medical value travel mission, we create a mission under the AYUSH Excel maybe or under the ministry. As you know, respected Rajeshji, we have people for medical value travel, the $13.2 billion coming from very poor countries. For Ayurveda and yoga, we have people from the richest countries coming to India. We should leverage it for 4 areas. Number 1, pure Ayurveda care for chronic, acute on chronic conditions. Both these areas, rehabilitation, extremely good opportunity. Integrative therapeutic wellness, where we bring modern medicine as well as Ayurveda together for high-end therapeutic wellness. Number 3, high-end step-down care. I'm done, Raghuji. I'm just finished. Yeah, high-end step-down care, and the other part is the WHO. What was mentioned by yourself in your comments. The global traditional medicine village will attract a lot of private sector interest. That'll be an excellent idea. And WHO, which is there across the country, we should use for two in the national interest. We should use as a validation partner. Whatever we are trying to do through the Global Ayurveda Innovation Network, WHO becomes a partner in validation of the theme, the strategies, so that it enables penetration globally for the Ayurveda sector. So selectively, we are able to refine strategies, and with this we do. Finally, my mark is that the PPP model, if we are trying to do something, we need for states, for standards to come, we will need to ensure that a standardized template is made for private sector and states to collaborate. Today, it's non-standardized, it's not working. We have tried multiple times. If we create through the Ministry of Ayush a standardized template, that will really accelerate PPP. I'll stop now. Thank you very much. So I want to conclude by telling Global Ayurveda Innovation Network, digital Ayush grid, all of this is the foundation for us to take forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That was very wonderful insights covering all the spectrum of Ayush. Specifically, only one point I would like to know whether this digital health grid, because what we are currently doing the Ayush grid actually, and we are expanding the scope of the Ayush grid by bringing various ecosystems, whether it is a drug regulations, medicinal plans, or even for the service sector, research, the entire Ayush value chain has been integrated into this Ayush grid. So apart from that, what additional digital health grid you are envisaging? Or can you, within 1 minute, you can answer?
So I think today we have very well brought in all the stakeholders into a grid. But what does the grid seek to achieve? How does it leverage contemporary changes in technology, innovation that's happening? Dramatic things are happening. So if Ministry of Ayush has a wonderful opportunity that, unlike the modern healthcare sector, which is far, far too huge to organize and bring in, we have an opportunity to organize right from now and say, how do we bring in AI, machine learning, all of this to increase productivity, increase standardization, data collection. Many things are possible so that this networking between partners, and if we had the time, I can go into a very specific model in terms of how this would look. There are ways in which this network would work with each other. Right? So it should be a separate discussion, and since there's already an Ayush Grid committee in place, maybe it would be appropriate for them to think through and see along with other stakeholders.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. So now, because already Rajivji already mentioned specifically this global Ayurveda innovation network, which is actually spearheaded by the academic institutions, All India Institute of Ayurveda, like that institutional network. So now I would like to go to Madam Tanuja ma'am, actually, because you have already have made this benchmarking as far as All India Institute of Ayurveda New Delhi is concerned. Now you are actually heading the ITRA Jamnagar. So what are your perspective, particularly in increasing the emphasis on evidence-based healthcare and traditional research? How can national institutes like AYA leverage the current budgetary priorities to strengthen high-quality clinical research and global scientific acceptance of Ayurveda?
Thank you, Raghuji. Am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Yes, thank you. Honorable Secretary, Ministry of Ayush, Vaidya Trigunaji, and all the highly accomplished panelists. It's my great honor and privilege to be a part of this panel. And it was a great opportunity and honor to be the part of the establishment of the All India Institute of Ayurveda, New Delhi and Goa, and now leading the ITRA with all my committed team members and under the guidance of ministry. The very first the cabinet note, which was supposed to be how IA should be, how it is different than 800 institutions. Madam NCISM chairman is here. So why this center of excellence? What is envisioned? So the first of all, it is mentioned that there is a need, since there are national institutions under Ministry of AYUSH, there are many organizations under Ministry of AYUSH, but there should be one center of excellence, which is the role model and creating the benchmark for the quality education at undergraduate, postgraduate level, cutting edge research for others to follow the path, and tertiary healthcare. So the one sentence it is mentioned that it should have holistic and integrated education model, which is like in the education, medical education should be like All India Institute of Medical Sciences should develop on the basis of aims. Then for the science, it should have the integration of science, technology, and medical education. So this institution should be developed like IICs in Bangalore, Indian Institute of Science for the science, and it should have the cutting edge technology, because tradition should be supported with the technology to make it classical yet contemporary, and which it should develop as IIT. So Indian Institute of Technology. So it should have the aims, IICs, and technology. So it's an integration of science, technology, and medical institutions. So we developed the same collectively under the ministry, that there are three main divisions there should be. In many other organizations, it's the academic and the hospital. But in AYA, and the AYA should be more focused on creating the practice-based evidence and evidence-based practices. Then apart from the very good academic setup and tertiary care hospital, then there is in fact a translational research division. So these are the three divisions, and where academic and research goes hand in hand, and the patient care is also included all together. So the academics, research, and patient care is interwoven together. This is the one special thing for the All India Institute of Ayurveda that is very important. Then in the academics, it is the Tattva, Shastra, and Vyavahar. So when we say that we are on the verge of modernizing AI-based HMIS, then we have learning management system, smart education system, all. But what is more important is our Tattva, Shastra. So in all ayas, what our faculty, HR is very strong. We have developed, there should be, in fact, my suggestion is, there is a position, it's called as a distinguished professor, emeritus professor, adjunct professor, and professor of practice. So where we have the practitioners, clinical expertise, which is given to the young budding academicians. So, and to NCISM also, this practice and the education that goes hand in hand, and that's what is done. And that's why whatever is contemporary, whatever is updated, that knowledge is being given, and which are visionary leaders, their expertise, the classical wisdom is given. That is number one. The second is whatever is the update in the latest updates. So this all training institution has ultra modern laboratories, which has the scientist, specialist, and also the technologists. So at one hand, we have the classical HR, we have the scientists, molecular biologists, biochemists, AI, bioinformatics. At the same time, we have the conventional medical doctors, as you said, Raju Vasudevanji, but the model of integration and holistic at All India Institute of Medical Science and at All India Institute of Ayurveda, even though that's holistic and integrated, there is a distinct difference. Because in All India Institute of Medical Science, whatever 10,000 patients are visiting, they know what type of patients, the number and the type of the patient is there, and there should be Ayurveda unit, holistic, because to provide the holistic integration wherever required in the chronic conditions, in the supplementary, that should be there. But at All India Institute of Ayurveda, the holistic and integrated model and the support of the conventional medical specialist is at that level that 90% treatment and the education is by the classical Ayurveda. But whatever are the modern advances, that has been given, only 5 to 10% is the conventional medicine. So the integration is minimal, 5 to 10%, but availability is there, and that's what the education is. Then we have the tertiary care model, where it is not only integration, but the holistic is in nature, and the strength of Ayurveda is in the prevention. So for every tertiary care specialty, whatever priorities we have established, it is the holistic treatment unit for diabetes, prameha. Then there is a first, it's prevention. So we have the chief dietitian, ahara, then yoga, then meditation, Ayurveda, Shodhana, Panchakarma, Shamana, but that is very, very disease specific. But that holistic unit needs to be established specialty wise. And that is the success where we can have a collective data set of 50,000 patients, collectively, holistically, and integration is with all latest laboratory investigations where we have the latest biochemical, histopathological, laboratory, radiological, all ultra modern diagnostic facilities supported with the holistic setup. I think that will give us the holistic data where we can analyze and we can also digitalize and we can reproduce the success stories where we have the holistic data set. With the AI, we can find out the patterns and also analyze. This is what AYUSH can do as a tertiary care setup. And under one umbrella, when we have the holistic and integrated setup, patient has the confidence that if at all anything is required, then the emergency setup is there, so that all the patients are students, are faculties, and they have the confidence that in the emergency setup, no patient referral is required. But if it is required, then the limits are mentioned. So this model gives the confidence not only to the patient, but the faculty and the scholars. That's what we have observed. What is more important, that gives more opportunity for the publication in the standard peer-reviewed journal. So that is what every hospital, every AYUSH should have the good publication, good reporting, good HIMS. That's what the crux. And coming to the research, there is a cutting edge research, everything we should not have, but we should have the collaboration with the best organizations. Like we have the collaborations with IITs, NIPER, all the best IGIB, CSIR organizations. So with these collaborations, cutting edge research can be developed at the molecular level, preclinical level, clinical level. And one more important, whatever research prioritization is done, that should have the translational value. The patent, translation, commercialization, that should be done, because at ITRA, which is already has the legacy of having this National Institute of National Importance, it is already there since ages together. There are scientists, there is a pharmacy unit, there is an in-house pharmacist required to produce the best quality material, and R&D for testing the medicines which are prepared. And medicine should also have the good range of herbominerals, emergency medication. We should prepare our own, test it our own, and apply, use it in our clinical setup, which ITRA has its pharmacy unit as well, which is the additional one. And with all these setups, the business model as incubation center, I can in but incubation and startup culture needs to be there to have the young entrepreneurship should get this opportunity to be the young entrepreneurs to have the business model. At the same time, since we should have our own paramedical staff, which is very required, so I would like to humbly submit here, the integration is not at level only of the teaching and the pathy level, but the integration is also for the paramedical staff, because the success of the IAs is the patient care, the paramedics, nursing staff is from the registered of Nursing Council of India, but they are well trained in the Ayurvedic nursing as well. Even the pharmacy is a registration with the pharmacy, but the well-trained in the Ayurveda. So all paramedical staff also has an integration. So all those Chikitsa Chatushpath, all everywhere we should have the quality and integration, and that's our call. Whenever we set up, I think the blueprint for the benchmark, what does it mean as a INI? What does it mean as a quality education? What does it mean as a tertiary care? That blueprint is ready, and that should be ready so that we replicate others. So this is what I wanted to say. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you. That is the blueprint that is already shown by the experience of the New Delhi. And now coming to a altogether different perspective from the states and UTs, I would like to invite the Principal Secretary Health Ayush Government of Madhya Pradesh, Mr. Dr. Shobhit Jain. How, from a state government perspective, how can the current budget strengthen Ayush service delivery, infrastructure development, and quality control mechanisms?
At the outset, let me thank Ministry of Ayush for having given me this opportunity to present my views. Kudos to the efforts of the ministry in getting Ayurveda, Ayurveda and the Indian system of medicine is the Ayush system. The recognition it truly deserves. In Madhya Pradesh, as far as the implementation part is concerned, I'll just throw some light on the implementation, and then I'll come to what is required, what more is required from the state government point of view, and also what support we require from the central government. So as far as currently we have the National Ayush Mission, we have got a state Ayush Mission society, governing bodies. There's a great deal of intersectoral coordination. Let me flag one particular point whereby earlier there was a provision in Madhya Pradesh. There are close to 830 Ayushman Arogya Mandirs. Now the doctors, the BAMS doctors were appointed by Health Department, and they were working these Ayushman Arogya Mandirs, but they were not being provided Ayurvedic medicines. So they were not able to actually prescribe those to the patients because the facility was not having the same. Now, with the intervention of the ministry and honorable court, this year we are going to ensure that kind of coordination, because we have asked for a demand from them. They have rightly given the demand, and we're going to provide them medicines this year. So there's a flawless coordination between departments. Another example is whereby we have been giving medicines to a couple of patients in tribal areas. That also we have now established. We had requested the health department to conduct a joint survey on the impact of the Ayurvedic medicines being given to them. So they have agreed to a study whereby those patients who are not being given Ayurvedic medicines as an add-on therapy, and those who have been given during the last 6 months, so that a comparative study they are willing to conduct. We are doing infrastructure development. AYUSH centers are there. We have got close to 1,773 dispensaries, out of which 800 are being developed as Ayush Arogya Mandirs, or the health and wellness centers. There's co-location. 58 district hospital wings have co-location with Ayush wings. There are 381 NHM units, whereby these are CHCs and PSCs where we have appointed Ayush doctors. And as I pointed out, there are 830 Ayushman Arogya Mandirs where health department has appointed doctors. We are in the process of getting constructed new hospitals. We already have 23 plus 12 are under construction. As far as the Honorable Prime Minister mentioned about care economy, so we have been taking care under the Vayomitra scheme of the Government of India. But this year we are also proposing the mobile units in each of the 51 districts, and later on in the other 4 or 5 more districts which have been newly created. So this will ensure that all the remotest areas of the state are covered through these mobile medical units, mobile units. We are in the process of ensuring that our educational institutions are upgraded. There I want to make a suggestion, sir. Since as I was noticing, there are close to 32 Ayurvedic institutions in the private sector. Now, most of the times we talk about private sector complementing and supplementing the government sector. So when I check these 32 institutions, out of these, 16 are located in Bhopal. So only 16 cover the entire state apart from Bhopal, which is close to 55 districts. So 55 districts are covered by 16, and then 16 are located in Bhopal itself. Similarly, for homeopathy colleges, out of the 19 which are there, 6 are in Bhopal, 3 in Indore. So 9 out of 19 are in Bhopal or Indore. So in the periphery, in those areas where there are so many people who want to pursue Ayurvedic courses, they are not having facilities and they have to perforce come to Bhopal or Indore. So it is very important that government intervention is undertaken in these particular areas where there's a gap. And we are doing that gap analysis, sir. We have also been using the PM Gati Shakti portal, as has been discussed with our Honorable Chief Secretary also. And we have mapped close to 95% of our AYUSH facilities in the PM Gati Shakti portal. We are also in the process, because our councils are there, the homeopathy council as well as the yoga council. So we are also thinking about mapping the Ayurvedic practitioners who have been registered in the council as well as the homeopathy practitioners, so that we have knowledge about what kind of facilities, what kind of services exist in which district or which smaller towns also. Sir, we are trying last mile connectivity outreach through various kinds of efforts at the state level. As I can see, sir, in the National Health Policy 2017, it was mentioned about medical pluralism. It says patients who so choose and when appropriate would have access to AYUSH care providers based on documented and validated local home and community-based practices. Now, here I would like to flag a very important point. In the rural areas, as I was visiting yesterday and day before, I visited 2 colleges, one in Ujjain and the other in Indore. And as I was coming back from Indore to Bhopal, in one of the villages, I made a random stop at one of the Ayurvedic dispensaries. Importantly, sir, because I located this dispensary on the Google map, so the Google map was not correct and was not precise. So I mislocated, went to a different direction. But then I asked the local shopkeepers, my driver talked to a couple of people, and everyone was aware that there's an AYUSH dispensary existing in this village. The village would have been having a population of close to 5,000-6,000. So important thing is awareness is there, sir, but we need to ensure that outreach, we need to ensure that our facilities are also created at each of these points. And this particular dispensary, since it's a health and wellness center too, it was having a yoga center. So it's important that rest of the places where we are having these dispensaries, we should be in future able to establish yoga centers also and upgrade them as health and wellness centers. Also appoint certain yoga teachers and the CAMO, which is Community Ayurvedic Medical Officer. And I am very sure the ministry has been appraised earlier, and we request that this year we are going to bring a couple of more requests for including in the NAM proposal. Coming to strengthening of AYUSH drug regulatory system, sir, as we know very well, it is said for a drug, the quality of drug is determined by the good is said to be Bahugudam, Bahukalpam, Sampanyam, Yogyam. Now, when we were young, we used to hear that Ayurvedic drugs don't have any side reaction. But now, with pharmacovigilance being strengthened, and there are so many cases whereby adverse drug reactions are heard of. But what happens is these are not being monitored properly, though we have centers, the pharmacovigilance centers at the state level, various colleges have been made. I was discussing in one of the colleges last year, they had only one ADR case. So that means, though the ministry has issued guidelines, I'm told, they're supposed to hold meetings, the pharmacovigilance cell is supposed to be holding meetings every 2 months. And they are also supposed to be reviewing cases. But what is happening is the cases they are reviewing is only those cases which are coming out of their own hospitals. while they are supposed to cater to a cluster of area. So that is also one important thing we would want to flag to the ministry. Plus, we have only one laboratory, the drug testing laboratory for Ayurvedic and Unani drugs in Gwalior. We don't have any other laboratory for the homeopathic drugs, and we want, as has been shared in the concept note about the hub and spoke model of drug testing. So we would request the ministry to sanction one of the regional centers in Madhya Pradesh. And I am very sure it is required across the country, because now Ayurvedic manufacturing is increasing by leaps and bounds. Sir, I would also request that as of now, I am told there are about 1,500 drugs of Ayurveda, Unani, and homeopathy which have monographs which have been developed, but close to 1,000 still remain. That is also something I think I don't know how much time it takes in developing a monograph. I'm sure it's a very extant exercise, but if it can be taken really faster, if there's a possibility that these 1,000 drugs are also covered in a shorter period of time, we will be able to effectively track them and ensure compliances. There are a lot of requirements of instruments in our drug testing laboratory. Like there's one ICP-MS, the inductively coupled plasma mass spectrometry. So I'm told, sir, that nowadays a lot of these medicines have trace heavy metal content, lead, cadmium, etc. are used, and if left untracked, they cause a lot of side reactions in patients. So that tracking is very important. We would also suggest, sir, to establish this national AYUSH. We have to have a national AYUSH drug recall mechanism. Currently, that kind of mechanism is not existing. That mechanism has to have a time-bound recall policy, as well as stronger penalties for non-compliance. We also request establishment of raw drug repositories so that raw materials can be standardized. The other day, I was talking to one of the Vanupad Sangh, which is basically supplying us the medicine, Ayurvedic medicines. And she was talking, the lady who's the MD there, she was talking about color coding of certain, I think Arjun she was talking about. So that particular color is supposed to be the best. So that all awareness is not there in the field. So this repository would create that kind of awareness and training in the field officers also. Beyond this, I think we are having the medicinal plant board, and from the last 2-3 years, Madhya Pradesh has been doing extant efforts in ensuring that each district is developed as a hub of one particular medicinal plant. So one district, one medicinal plant. So I'm very sure these efforts in the long run, and along with the support from the ministry, we'll be able to ensure quality planting material as well as the quality raw material for these Ayurvedic medicines. As far as our training centers are concerned, so we would also want in future, and we are in discussion with the health department, that we have there's a clinical establishment act, and currently it is being monitored by the health department. So we are in the process of ensuring that at least the Ayurvedic practitioners are registered through officials of AYUSH only. Plus, there's this nursing council. So nursing courses we cannot run in future. We are also trying that Madhya Pradesh AYUSH department runs nursing courses for the paramedical staff. Sir, as far as AYUSH clusters, there was a talk about AYUSH clusters also. And we think that certain of our locations are very favorable to establish AYUSH clusters. For example, Malwa Belt, the western part of Madhya Pradesh, is very rich in so many medicinal plants. And it's also a manufacturing hub because most of the industries are located, whether it is Devas, which is a big industrial area, Pithampur, Vindhar is a big industrial area. So that is a fit place, fit area for establishing such kind of hubs. I think these are the points I would want to make from the state side. If any
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Covering the comprehensively all the specific activities of the state and also the requirements of the states you have flagged. So now, before going to the next panelist, I would request all the participants to scan the QR code so that you can have your suggestions on these panel discussions, and even your any specific recommendations also you can undertake on that platform. Thank you. Now, coming to the next panelist from GTMC, we have Dr. Geeta Krishnan. He is the head of the global center, particularly research innovation unit. And I would like to ask specifically, with the establishment of the WHO Global Traditional Medicine Center in Jamnagar, how can India strategically leverage this platform to position AYUSH systems as credible, evidence-based traditional healthcare globally?
And also, what are your thoughts about this budget announcement specific to WHO upgradation global center and its ecosystem?
Thank you, sir. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to make my representation and my thoughts, to present my thoughts here. Respected Secretary AYUSH, respected dignitaries, other colleagues in the panel and in the webinar. This is a very important juncture because under the leadership of the Honorable Prime Minister, Sri Narendra Modi, India has brought traditional medicine to the center of global health dialogue. It is no longer in the fringes. It started, or it has it has become very evident with the establishment of the WHO Global Traditional Medicine Center in Jamnagar, including extended towards to the Delhi Declaration on Traditional Medicine during the India's G20 presidency, as well as further to only two global summits on traditional medicine which has ever happened, which was hosted and led by India. And also today in his inaugural address, the Prime Minister highlighted several important priorities for India's future. The few things which he noted was the care economy, the futuristic technologies, innovation-driven growth, skill development, partnerships, and empowering young researchers. Traditional medicine can contribute meaningfully to each of these priorities, is my thought. The budget announcement to strengthen the WHO Global Traditional Medicine Center is therefore not only a health sector investment, but also an opportunity to build a knowledge-driven and innovation-driven ecosystem around traditional medicine. Traditional medicine today is practiced in 170 countries, and in India, the systems of traditional medicine, which are together called as AYUSH, play an important role in preventive, promotive, and community-based healthcare. However, to fully realize their global potential, three foundations must be strengthened: evidence, data, and quality. The WHO Global Traditional Medicine Center at Jamnagar provides a unique platform where India can work with the global community to strengthen these foundations. Let me briefly highlight three initiatives that could translate the budget vision into global impact. This is my thought process, so let me present it here. The first priority is building strong scientific evidence and global trust. Across all the speakers before me, and I'm sure that after me also, will be underlining this very important area of work. And in my thought process, traditional medicine, if it has to be globalized and accepted, it needs to have benefits. It needs to be accessible, but most importantly, it should have trust. All these comes with evidence-based integration as well as evidence-based safety and efficacy ascertaining by regulatory agencies as well as countries. GTMC is already working to establish a real-world evidence network for traditional medicine, linking research institutions, practitioner networks, and health systems across countries. This includes collaborations with institutions. This is not limited, but such as the Charité University in Berlin, ITRA in Jamnagar, practitioner-based reporting networks in Australia and New Zealand, community evidence platforms in South Africa, and partnerships with Ministry of Health in Brazil. Now, I'm not saying that these are the only one, but we are expanding. By connecting these global collaborations with India's strong research institutions and the young researchers that we have, GTMC can be leveraged to create a global evidence accelerator for AYUSH. This will support research-driven learning, provide opportunities for young scientists to experiment and innovate, and strengthen the global scientific credibility for AYUSH systems. The second pillar is the digital infrastructure and data. India has already taken a major step through the AYUSH grid. We are all aware of it. And this is creating a large digital ecosystem for clinical documentation, practitioner networks, and health information systems. Now, the next step is to link this infrastructure with global partners. And GTMC can help to build a global traditional medicine data network. We are already on the work of it. Such a network will support real-world data generation from clinical practice, AI-assisted evidence analysis, digital tools for telemedicine and integrative healthcare. This will not only strengthen research, but also support the growth of the digital health economy, enabling innovation in areas such as preventive health, wellness services, and telehealth. The third pillar is quality, safety, and global trust. And this, of course, is not the least, and this is the probably equal and probably more important than everything else as far as quality, safety, and trust is concerned. From WHO perspective, one of our most successful global initiatives has been the WHO pre-qualification program for medicines and vaccines. And this has helped ensure quality and expand access worldwide. A similar approach can be explored for herbal and traditional medicine products, and AYUSH products especially. GTMC can support the development of a globally recognized quality and pre-qualification framework and a system and a center for traditional medicine products. This would strengthen international confidence in AYUSH medicines, improve manufacturing standards, and expand opportunities for global trade and innovation in AYUSH sector. Such progress would contribute not only to public health, but also to the growth of an innovation-driven and export-oriented AYUSH economy. This would also, not to mention, improve the quality and standards and capacity of the AYUSH industry within the country. This is a strategic opportunity, this budget. And the initiatives which I have mentioned earlier, if they are implemented together, my perspective, which are such as the Global Evidence Accelerator, the Global Traditional Medicine Data Network, and a Global Quality and Regulatory Platform, which is a pre-qualification platform or a center or a service, we can lead the development of the world's most comprehensive ecosystem for evidence-based traditional medicine. And this ecosystem will support stronger global partnerships, new opportunities for young researchers and innovators, growth of the care and wellness economy, and wider access to safe and trusted traditional healthcare. The strengthening of the WHO Global Traditional Medicine Center in Jamnagar therefore represents a major opportunity, not only for India, but for the global health community. In our perspective, India now has the opportunity to build a global architecture for evidence-based traditional medicine, and Jamnagar can become the world's knowledge hub for this transformation. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. That was very specific inputs as far as how you can spearhead the GTMC into the global scenario, further strengthening the AYUSH systems, particularly the global pre-qualification framework for AYUSH, how it can be taken further. So that kind of suggestions we are really valid. So now let me introduce our learned Padma Bhushan Vaidya Devendra Trigunaji, who is the governing body chairman of the Rashtriya Ayurveda Vidyapeeth, and specifically, sir, आपका जो इतनी साल को experience में, particularly preservation of the classical knowledge of the Ayurveda, जैसे हम मिनिस्ट्री एंड वेरियस इनिशिएटिव्स हम लेते हैं और बजट अनाउंसमेंट करते हैं, तो इसमें इसके साथ साथ आयुर्वेदा का जो रियल प्रिंसिपल्स को इसमें इंटीग्रेट कर कर हमारे पूरा कंट्री में जन सामान्य को कैसे इसको लाभ दे सकते हैं, तो इसके बारे में थोड़ा
पहले तो मैं इस बजट में प्रधानमंत्री जी को धन्यवाद दूंगा कि जो इस साल का बजट पेश हुआ और हमने उसको लाइव भी देखा पार्लियामेंट में। इस प्रकार जब इतना बजट हमारा पेश हुआ, इतना हमारा पैसा बढ़ाया गया, 3 एम्स अनाउंस हुए, मैं उनको दिल से धन्यवाद करता हूँ आयुर्वेद जगत की ओर से, आयुष जगत की ओर से, अपने मंत्री जी को, हमारे सचिव वैद्य राजेश कोटेचा जी को। जहां तक इसकी बात है आयुर्वेद की चिकित्सा की, पहले तो मैं कहना चाहूंगा कि आयुर्वेद की चिकित्सा जो है, इसको हम मॉडर्न एडवांसेस तो हम आजकल सब ले रहे हैं। हमारी भी जितनी भी हमारी चाइया है या जितने भी हमारे हॉस्पिटल्स हैं, हमारे चिकित्सक लोग, हम डेली रूटीन में भी चिकित्सा में जितनी भी मॉडर्न एडवांसेस हमको लेते हैं, उससे हमको हेल्प होती है। हम नाड़ी परीक्षा भी करते हैं, लेकिन हमको जितनी भी मॉडर्न एडवांसेस उनको लेते हैं। लेकिन जहाँ ये बात एविडेंस की आती है, एविडेंस और डेटा, वो तब इकट्ठा अच्छा मिलेगा जब हमारे पास क्वालिटी ऑफ मेडिसिन अच्छी होगी। अगर हमारे पास चिकित्सक के मेडिसिन ही अच्छी नहीं होगी तो ये एविडेंस और डेटा का उसका कोई महत्व नहीं रहता। तो हमको पहले फोकस करना चाहिए कि हमारी क्वालिटी ऑफ मेडिसिन अच्छी बने। जिस प्रकार दिल्ली के अंदर ऑल इंडिया इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ आयुर्वेद चल रहा है, अब उसको चलते हुए तकरीबन अब 10 साल हो गए हैं, 2-3 हजार मरीज रोज आ रहे हैं, वहाँ उनकी चिकित्सा भी हो रही है। लेकिन मेरा अपना ये मानना है कि जितने भी हम ये एम्स बन रहा है और जितने भी और 3 या जितने भी और एम्स बने, उनमें एम्स में शुरू होते ही हमको साथ में उसके रसशास्त्र, मतलब जो हमारी जो रसायनशाला हो, हमारी फार्मेसी हो, वो पहले बनानी चाहिए, ताकि वहाँ जो हमारी मेडिसिन है वहाँ वहाँ बननी शुरू हो। क्वालिटी ऑफ मेडिसिन जो है हमको बहुत अच्छी नहीं मिलती है, और जब रिसर्च की बात आती है तो जितने भी हमारे अय्या हों, उन सब में मेडिसिन वहीं बने ताकि हमको बाहर से खरीदनी नहीं पड़े। आज मैं ये कहना चाहूंगा कि जो हमारा ऑल इंडिया इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ आयुर्वेद है, अच्छा काम कर रहा है। वहाँ आज हजारों मरीज रोज देखने के लिए आते हैं। लेकिन जो हमारा ध्येय है कि ना कि देश में वहां से रेफरल मरीज आए, लेकिन पूरे विश्व से वहां पर मरीज आए। किस बीमारियों के लिए? जिन बीमारियों की चिकित्सा एलोपैथी में नहीं के बराबर है, जो वहां से मरीज हमारे पास पूरे विश्व से आते हैं हमारे पास चिकित्सा के लिए, चाहे वो अल्सरेटिव कोलाइटिस हो, बहुत सारी बीमारियां हैं, लाइफस्टाइल की बीमारियां भी हैं, मधुमेह भी हो सकता है। तो योग और आयुर्वेद से मिलकर जब इन बीमारियों को हम ठीक कर सकते हैं, तो इन सेंटर्स में हमको पहले अपनी रस औषधियां, हमारे कैंसर्स के लिए, हमारी मधुमेह के लिए, हमारी ऐसे बीमारी जैसे हमारे मसल्स की जितनी बीमारी है, सब में बहुत फायदा है। पंचकर्म का हमारा बहुत पॉपुलर हुआ है, और वही उसका एक विशेष कारण हुआ कि अय्या का इतना पूरे देश में और पूरे विश्व में उसका नाम हुआ। आज वहाँ बहुत लंबी वेटिंग लिस्ट है, वहाँ प्राइम मिनिस्टर वहाँ खुद मरीजों को भेजते भी हैं। तो इससे हमको बहुत आयुर्वेद का नाम बहुत हुआ। लेकिन मेरा विशेष करके कोटेचा जी से आग्रह है कि जो नए हमारे एम्स बने, जहां भी बने, वहां पे पहले अब साथ साथ में उसके रस औषधियों का, हमारा रसायनशाला का, हमारी फार्मेसी पहले साथ साथ बने, ताकि हमको औषधियां वहीं के वहीं अच्छी मिले। अच्छी अच्छी औषधियां मिल नहीं पाती, और ये जो मिनिमम जो होता है ना आपका, कम से कम ये जो कीमत रखते हैं, उससे जो दवाइयां खरीदी जाती हैं, बहुत घटिया और सस्ती दवाइयां होती है वो, तो उससे कोई फायदा नहीं होता मुझे लगता है। तो हमको अच्छी क्वालिटी की दवाइयां खरीदी जाए, और एक ऐसी कमेटी आप जरूर बनाए जो उन दवाइयों को देखे, उसकी एविडेंस बेस के लिए जो भी हो, लेकिन जनरल लोगों के लिए भी अच्छी क्वालिटी की मेडिसिन खरीदे। और अभी भारत सरकार की एक ही कंपनी थी IMPC, मुझे लगता है शायद वो ही बंद होने वाली है। तो मुझे लगता है कि अपने को ऐसी भारत सरकार से और अच्छी कंपनियां बनानी चाहिए, ताकि हमारी अच्छी दवाइयां बने। और वो कंपनी भी जो, वो भी शायद बाहर से दवाइयां बनाती है, तो इसका भी विशेष ध्यान रखा जाए, दवाइयों को विशेष करके। आज इतने NRI पूरे विश्व से भारत में आते हैं, और उनको आयुर्वेद, योग उसके लिए बहुत पता है। विदेशी लोग भी इसलिए आना चाहते हैं भारत में कि वहाँ इनको ऑथेंटिक आयुर्वेद और योग का इनको क्वालिटी ऑफ मेडिसिन मिलेगी। तो उनको पता हो, जब हमारी एम्बेसीज हैं, तो बताएं कि आपको जब विदेश देश में आप जाएंगे, जहाँ किस जगह आपको अच्छी आयुर्वेद की मेडिसिन मिल सकती है, कहाँ अच्छा चिकित्सा मिल सकती है, कहाँ अच्छा पंचकर्म मिल सकता है। और हमारे जितने NRIs हैं, वो आज लाखों हर साल आते हैं, शायद ज्यादा भी आते होंगे। तो उनको भी जब क्वालिटी ऑफ इनको अच्छा मिलेगी अपने स्वास्थ्य के लिए, तो उनको बहुत फायदा होगा, और देश को इकोनॉमी बहुत बढ़ेगी। मैं तो कहता हूँ कि आयुर्वेद और योग एक ऐसी दो चीजें जो भारत की इकोनॉमी को बहुत अच्छा सुधार सकती हैं। लेकिन हमको प्रचार करें हमारी एम्बेसीज माध्यम के थ्रू, हमारे जो एम्बेसीज हैं उनमें सब जगह एक आयुष का एक वहाँ एक आदमी बैठना चाहिए, आयुष के हर उसमें एम्बेसी में, हमारे हाई कमीशन में, ताकि वहाँ उनको बताए समझाए, हमारा एक ग्रेजुएट हो या जो भी लोग हो। तो मेरा ये मानना है कि इससे हम बहुत कुछ प्रचार कर सकते हैं। आज आयुर्वेद की चिकित्सा के माध्यम से हम लोगों को पूरे देश और पूरे विश्व में बहुत नाम है। अमेरिका के आज हजारों लोग, हजारों डॉक्टर्स वहाँ की आयुर्वेद की चिकित्सा कर रहे हैं। मुझे याद है कि जब हम अर्ली 80s में जाते थे तब वहाँ आयुर्वेद का नाम बहुत कम था। तो जी तो सारे पूरे विश्व में जाते थे। देखा आपने कि किस प्रकार आज आयुर्वेद का नाम पूरे विश्व में है। तो मेरा ये मानना है कि जैसे हम पहले लेट 80s में, अर्ली 90s में और अर्ली 200s में जाते थे जिनेवा में WHO कॉन्फ्रेंस में, तब वहाँ आयुर्वेद का नाम बहुत कम था और वहाँ एक ही 30 साल से चाइनीज एक लेडी होती थी जो वहाँ की इंचार्ज थी। लेकिन आज ग्लोबल सेंटर मोदी जी ने लिया और आज जामनगर में सेंटर खुला है। इस माध्यम से हम आयुर्वेद को, आयुष पद्धतियों को, योग को पूरे विश्व में लेके जा रहे हैं। बहुत दफा मोदी जी ने मन की बात में भी कहा है कि जैसे योग को आपने स्थापित किया यूएन में, ये जो शताब्दी होगी, ये जो सदी होगी, ये आयुर्वेद की होगी। तो इस सदी में हम आयुर्वेद को अच्छे माध्यम से, आयुष डिपार्टमेंट के माध्यम से हम नए नए आयुष के वो खोलें। आज दिल्ली का जो आयुष है उसमें एजुकेशन बहुत अच्छी हो गई है। वहाँ का जो पीजी निकल रहा है, क्योंकि वो बेस्ट स्टूडेंट आता है पूरे देश का, तो बहुत अच्छे स्कॉलर्स वहाँ से निकल रहे हैं, फैकल्टी बहुत अच्छी है, सेंटर बहुत अच्छा डेवलप हो रहा है। इसलिए जो नए एम्स खुले वहाँ पे एजुकेशन इस तरह की हो, वहाँ की फैकल्टी अच्छी हो, लेकिन वहाँ मेडिसिन बहुत अच्छी बनेगी। क्योंकि जो जैसे कोई भी फौज होती है, उसका हथियार अगर अच्छे नहीं होंगे, अच्छे हथियार नहीं मिलेंगे, तो वो फौज अच्छी काम नहीं कर सकती। इसलिए हमारे चिकित्सक को अच्छी औषधि मिले, मेडिसिनल प्लांट्स हमको अच्छे मिले। मेडिसिनल प्लांट बोर्ड बनाया इसीलिए गया था कि चिकित्सक लोगों को जो दवाइयां बनाते हैं उनको अच्छी औषधियां मिले, तभी हम सफल होंगे। मेरा ये मानना है कि हम इन सब चीजों पे फोकस करें, मेडिसिन पे, अच्छे चिकित्सक पे। चिकित्सा ही रीढ़ होती है। आज चिकित्सक की वजह से पूरे विश्व में आयुर्वेद का नाम है। तो मेरा ये मानना है कि हम चिकित्सा को, औषधि को, रसौषधियों को, इनका प्रचार करें, ताकि हम अच्छी बीमारियों का इलाज कर पाएंगे। पूरी दुनिया से रेफरल्स हमारे पास आते हैं, तो इन एम्स में जाए, ताकि ऐसा होगा, ऐसा मेरा मानना है। धन्यवाद।
Thank you, sir. Actually, specifically focusing on requirement of a pharmacy who actually makes their own medicines actually. So that kind of excellence has to be inbuilt in all the IAs. Not all, why not IA? All the education institutions, they should be empowered like that actually. So with that, actually, then I will come to the education regulator, Madam Manisha Kotekar, ma'am, actually chairperson, National Commission for Indian System of Medicine. How we can further spearhead through these budget announcements the education ecosystem. So these ongoing education reforms are already being undertaken by the commissions, and how it will align with the government's broader vision of the strengthening the Ayush workforce and improving the healthcare delivery through this the lens of this budget announcement. मैडम आप अनम्यूट कर लीजिए, मैं अनम्यूट कर लीजिए।
यहाँ से कर सकते हैं, यहाँ से। म्यूट ही है। आपका माइक में कुछ इश्यू है, आपका अनम्यूट है यहाँ से तो मनीषा जी।
वॉल्यूम एक बार चेक कर लेना,
एक बार वॉल्यूम चेक कर लीजिए, वॉल्यूम चेक कर लीजिए आप। एक बार आप लॉग आउट करके लॉग इन करिए, जब तक हम दूसरे पेरेंट्स को लेते हैं, रिजोल्व हो जाए जब तक।
So now let me come to Dr. D. Ramanathan, General Secretary, Ayurvedic Medicine Manufacturers Organization of India. So how, as an industry representative, industry leader, particularly the drug industry and the service industry of the AYUSH, actually, how you look into these budget announcements and how the current policy environment and the budgetary focus supporting strengthening the AYUSH drug manufacturing ecosystem, particularly for MSME manufacturers.
Good afternoon, good morning, Seguji, and thanks for the very proactive Rajesh Kotechaji and all the panelists. Sir, I am audible?
Yes, yes.
Sir, we are giving three areas. One is 58.1 and 52.2. First, I go to the setup All India Institute of Ayurveda, sir. The MSME in the Ayurveda sector are rapidly growing. We are nearly 8,000 Ayurveda licensed manufacturers are now. Among them, 85% are micro units and 10% are small units, and the remaining 5% fall under medium and large scale production units. And Ayurvedic medicine manufacturers is broadly classified in four categories: generic products, proprietary medicine, and cosmetics and nutraceutical. My suggestion is that among the three proposed All India Institute of Ayurveda, at least one institute, or preferably all three, should establish dedicated department and specialized branch to support MSME sector. This department could focus on drug dossier technology, integrative medical technology, and also providing technical service access to the advanced testing laboratories, quality assurance facilities, and integrative medical research support. Such departments focus scientific documents of the Ayurvedic medicine, evidence-based validation of the classical formulation, development of standardized drug dossiers, integration Ayurveda and modern medical technology, development of targeted therapies and diagnosis approach. This initiative will help create a strong scientific foundation for Ayurveda and strengthen MSME manufacturers and improve global acceptance to the Ayurveda system of as a medicine, sir. Then scientific validation Ayurvedic medicine on major challenge in Ayurveda is lack of scientific standardization and proper scientific document of medicine. So dedicated research department, this All India Institute, standards of Ayurvedic formulation, quality control, and pharmacological studies, identification of the active pharmacochemical compounds, development new formation like single, dual, and polyherbal, based on the classical Ayurvedic test. Now the generic product day by day by decreasing. The generic product is a fundamental of the Ayurvedic system. The 80% of the micro level is fully concentrated of the generic products. That is why I'm raising this point. Through All India Institute of Ayurveda, Ministry of AYUSH may support structured training also, research documentation, scientific article writing, manuscript preparation, and scientific journal publications. This program will help research, academician, and industry professional publish high quality and pre-reviewed scientific papers. And strengthening the scientific publication will build a strong evidence base on Ayurveda using the modern diagnostic parameters while preserving its core principle, Ayurvedic fundamental principle. This will improve international aspects of Ayurveda through scientific documents and clinical evidence. This is my first point, sir. Second one is a 58.2 upgradation AYUSH pharmacy, sir. The strengthening quasi funding of pharma unit and laboratory, the current funding limit is quasi scheme maybe need revision, sir. The pharma unit support currently limited is 3 crores now, which does not include infrastructure development of the cost. Considering the high capital investment required, especially the MSME, the funding limit may be increased at least 10 crores, sir, including infrastructure support and extension of the timeline of the WHO, GMP, and COPP complaint. Currently, the COPP complaints approximately 2.5 years, 2 months, 5 months, or after receiving the sanction fund. So, considering the infrastructure development, regulatory approval, the financial investment required to be beneficial to extend the timeline is to 5 years. This extension may also made applicable to companies that have already received sanction. Then another one is AYUSH laboratory points. Similarly, the funding for AYUSH drug testing laboratories currently limited to only 2 crores only, sir. So insufficient due to the high cost of modern infrastructure that ICPOES, HPTLC, HPLC, stability chambers, GCMS, etc. Therefore, the funding limit may be increased 10 crores to enable the laboratories to establish modern testing laboratory. Suppose you are giving the modern testing laboratory one infrastructure development, our quality assurance by through the HPTLC from batch to batch wise, we can assure for the product to the clinical future to the public, sir. So the technical support to AYUSH laboratory to further strengthen laboratory capacity of Ministry of AYUSH, financial support to stipends also, to placement of trained scientific technician for the first 3 years for operation approved Ayurveda AYUSH laboratories. This will significantly improve laboratory operation and research output and quality control system also. Then I come to the skilled area. Export-oriented documentation. We need export-oriented documentation, skilled people, dossier preparation with increasing the global demand and strong need of developed skilled professional and regulatory documents are. The training program, export documentation, regulatory compliance, drug dossier preparation, international regulatory standards, document of raw material under citus negative list. This is the main problem of the industry now. This for the export. And this will help to Ayurveda industry expand international trade also, HSN code, and enter global pharmaceutical market more efficiently. And developing the skilled human resource Ayurveda research, modern Ayurvedic pharmaceutical research, pharmacology, pharmacognosy, pharmacotherapies, and pharmaceutical technology. Currently, the Ayurveda institution mainly train physicians, but modern pharmaceutical research required technical and laboratory expertise. Therefore, specified course should be developed in trained professional in modern drug development and pharmaceutical researcher. Then training in many modern analytic technology used in pharmaceutical industry are not adequate taught in Ayurveda institution. The students and researchers should receive training the technology HPTLC, HPLC, GEC, ICP, exporters. This all the technology will enable Ayurveda professional to conduct advanced pharmaceutical research and quality testing. The skill development, medicine plant cultivation, sir, and also raw material identification is also required. Long time everybody knows that. So the long-term supply Ayurvedic industry depends on the availability with the high quality of the medicine plant. So the Ministry of AYUSH may initiate the skill-based training program, medicine plant cultivation, raw materials identification, and quality assessment of the herbal ingredient. This will strengthen the raw material supply chain and entire authentic Ayurvedic medicine, sir. Okay, sir. Then my last my question, sir. You must given to these 5 hubs. These 5 need to independent AYUSH dress controller department is required. Most of the state is a modern medicine dress controller department. So you need all the state need a independent AYUSH dress controller, and most of the AYUSH control department under modern medicine. So the 5 apps of the new testing laboratory to ensure only for using AYUSH systems, sir. That is also you must ensure. Now you are giving the fund, but 80% of the modern system and 20% of the AYUSH system. So these 5 apps you must ensure that only for Ayurveda. This is my point, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. That inputs us specifically in the context of the industry perspective, how to improve the quality of the drugs and how the scientific inputs can be brought into through the budget announcements. Now, coming to one of the leading expert in the industry. Yes,
Madam.
Madam, are you able to speak? Also, she is not able to. Okay.
Community.
So we will come back actually. So we will come to Dr. C.K. Katia, former Vice Chairman, Dabur, Vice President, Head and R&D, Dabur India Limited. From an industry perspective, R&D perspective, what are the key steps needed to accelerate innovation, product validation, and global market acceptance of Ayurvedic products? So you can just reflect upon these key budget announcements, particularly in the context of the pharmacies and laboratory upgradation.
Right. So thank you, Dr. Raghu, here, Dr. Rajesh Kotitaji, Ved Gunaji, Dr. Raghu, and distinguished members of the panel. It's my privilege to be talking to you on this very important issue. Our Honorable Prime Minister today spoke about the care economy, talking about the elderly geriatric population. But there is one more change happening in the society coming up of Gen Z. So the choices of Gen Z are going to direct the future of marketing of Ayurvedic products after 10 years, maybe after 5 years itself, right? So I think we need to be ready. Are we ready from R&D perspective to cater to the needs of Gen Z, whose requirements are entirely different? That's one. One more area I'll come later. So to answer a question, I've got 6 small points. Number one, from R&D lens, Ayurveda will scale globally only when it is developed less as a tradition-seeking validation, which is currently we are doing, and more as a botanical innovation platform with regulator-ready evidence, consistent chemistry and discipline claims like USFDA talks about the totality of evidence. So global means what? The advanced country like US and Europe, here we talk totality of evidence. So our direction, our approach need to change a bit. The core problem is not lack of consumer curiosity. It is a gap between classical use and what regulators, physicians, payers, and import markets require and trust, safety, quality, and efficacy. If there is gap, whatever we do is not going to meet. And Vaidji already very clearly shared that the quality of medicine should not be compromised at all. WHO 2025 to 34 traditional medicine strategy also points in the same direction. Strengthen evidence, improve safety and regulation, and support integration based on evidence rather than heritage alone. Now the time of it, we need to talk of the evidence. We no more can take shelter behind the traditional use. I think we need to wake up now and align to the need. Second is encourage industry to go more for WHO GMP. Our project AYUSH औषधि गुणवत्ता एवं उत्पादन संवर्धन योजना and other projects where we need to have more and more GMP compliant. I'm very happy to say that if I remember almost 15-20 years ago, only 3-4 companies were having WHO GMP. Today, if we look at the list of CDSC website, more than 20 companies are there. So therefore, awareness is there. People are now understanding that WHO GMP does not need very high investment. It only needs a good level of documentation. So I think ministry in this budget, we need to give a provision to support those industries. Somebody said training, yes. Training is the most important. So that it is their mindset gets changed and more around companies are opting for the WHO training. And in this training, because only government will not be able to do it. Those industries which already have got WHO GMP, their key people also to be contacted that if you are the trainer, like act become a trainer to the trainees. So if suppose one company in Gujarat had WHO GMP, and if somebody from Gujarat wants to have similar level of WHO GMP, let them be permitted to visit that, to discuss with them, and some kind of training program, which is coordinated by Ministry of Ayush or WHO Center Zero, like we had done in the August last year for some 12 countries. Next, very important in network of quality testing lab, very happy to see Herbum scope model, 5 laboratories, DTL, drug testing labs. Now, objective has to be different. In case of pharmaceutical side now, DTL only is limited to test the sample picked up by the drug inspector. They do not test any sample directly sent by the industry. But in this case, in case of AYUSH, approach has to be a bit different. These DTL also should be able to help the industry. They should also be sent to submit their samples for testing at a reasonable cost. For government, no cost. For industry, yes, reasonable cost may be there. For this, the DTL's infrastructure needs to be enabled from day one, and where the state laboratories need to be directly coordinating with them, and PCI image obviously remains the apex body. So that is, I remember Dr. Kotecha said in the meeting last year that industry should be ready to be lifted more than 10,000 samples by the drug inspectors and testing for quality. It started happening. But even if you pick up 10,000 samples, where do you test them? And what parameters do you have? So therefore, a strengthening of the lab in terms of infrastructure very important. In a country where we have 8,000 manufacturers and not a single DTL. So that's one reason why the quality of the drugs is not able to improve despite lot of efforts by the government and to some of the industries as well. Next to the fourth is when in the same continuation of quality, in Ayurvedic pharmacopoeia of Indian pharmacopoeia, we have almost marker compounds of almost 80 plants. But you'll be surprised to know 90% of those marker compounds are not water soluble. The reason is we have relied on borrowed chemistry to decide the marker compounds of our Ayurvedic medicine plant. Those compounds were never isolated to act as marker compounds. We included them in the pharmacopoeia. I am also equally part of that mistake. I don't deny that. So there is need. After this very, very serious thing, we need to have our own chemistry and biology institute of AYUSH under PCIM, where we need to isolate water-soluble compounds, do their characterization, do their biology, so that whatever marker compounds we talk, they are partly responsible for biological activity, and then there will be good mark. I can tell you, if today we test 17 compounds in Chyawanprash, we hardly get 3 or 4 because they have to right. So that's one. And then to accelerate innovation and global acceptance, Ayurveda needs a portfolio strategy, not a promotional strategy. The winning model is classical knowledge, authenticated raw material, standardized formulation, rigorous safety package, plus indication-specific clinical trial, indication-specific clinical evidence, and regulator appropriate claims, post-marketing surveillance. This further, especially for the export. So we are talking for exports. So whatever regulator wants in those countries, we need to give that kind of evidence. If India aligns government public funds, industry execution, and academia's translational science around that sequence, Ayurvedic products can move from being seen internationally as interesting but variable to trusted, safe, standardized, and clinically usable. That is the real need for Ayurveda to go global. That's regarding this. One more last point is how to expand the scope of products beyond humans. Sir, veterinary business is close to $300 billion globally. Out of that, only pet your dog and cat, more than $150 billion, right? In Ayurveda, we have a lot of opportunity to enter veterinary Ayurveda. I wish to suggest that let us start. Few institutes are training in this area to create the teaching institutions, industry, and encourage the entrepreneurs who are already coming up in the business of dog and cat care from veterinary, and because their export will be very easy for them because interest is already that much. People are already aware about the benefits of herbal products for dog and cat. So this veterinary market is maybe 50% only. but the chances of success without any competition are very high. This is one way to export to promote the exports of Ayush products across the globe. So with this, I'll put a stop. I'll put a stop here, and rest we can discuss if the time permits later on. Thank you very much for giving the opportunity.
Thank you. And a couple of things for all the panelists, esteemed panelists. All of you have diverse view and very important views. Very important inputs we are getting. So we are capturing this, but I would request that please also summarize those inputs and send us across by email also, so that we capture everything, whatever has been said. It is all important for policy making. For us also, a lot of learning are there. So this learning should not be just lost by missing something.
Right.
So request that all the panelists, please summarize your views and your thoughts, and then send us across by email, maybe by today or tomorrow, so that it will help us. The other thing, for all the participants, you can see Raghuji already mentioned that there is a QR code is visible into this the screen. So this QR code is for the feedback and your suggestions, because we are not able to capture the views of all. It should be very democratic. So all 1,000 participants are requested to to look at that possibility of providing your views, your suggestions for this important budget announcement. So please look at this QR code, scan this, and submit your response, your feedback. It's also very important. Raghuji, over to Raghuji.
Thank you, sir. Now, I think Madam Manisha, ma'am, actually able to speak.
मनीषा जी, कुछ गड़बड़ है आपके वहाँ, कोई बात नहीं. अभी यदि हम इसको फिक्स कर पाते हैं तो ठीक है, नहीं तो अदरवाइज आपका रिटर्न हम लोगों को मिलना चाहिए, है ना. तो
या
मोबाइल में आप कर सकते हैं. मोबाइल से अभी ज्वाइन किया है मनीषा जी? अच्छा, मोबाइल से ज्वाइन किया है तो भी आपका तो यहाँ हमारे पास तो दिखा रहा है कि वो अनम्यूट है. एक बार आपको रिक्वेस्ट भेजा है, आप अनम्यूट करिए. कर दिया? अच्छा, देयर मस्ट बी सम टेक्निकल ग्लिच. तो
या मैडम आपसे टेलीफोन में बात कर लें.
वहाँ जो स्पीकर होगा मैम, जो उसमें जाके करेक्ट कीजिए कि वो स्पीकर में है या माइक्रोफोन में है. आप जहाँ पे साउंड का सिंबल होगा वहाँ पे राइट क्लिक करके ये देखिए कि आपका आवाज कहाँ जा रहा है, स्पीकर में जा रहा है या माइक्रोफोन में जा रहा है.
हाँ मनीषा जी, आप टेलीफोन पर ही बताइए, मैं इसको माइक पर रख देता हूँ, है ना. आपका मेरा फोन उठाइए और टेलीफोन पर ही बोलिए आप, है ना. इट विल बी ऑल्सो पॉसिबल. मेरा फोन उठा लीजिए, मैं फोन कर रहा हूँ आपको. उठा नहीं रहे. हाँ, आप बोलिए, फोन पर विजिबल है, आपकी आवाज आ रही है. यू कैन स्पीक.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah. Dr. Raghu. First of all, I would like to comment on the budgetary provision, the integrated vision underlying the budget announcement is to build a robust, credible and globally competitive ecosystem. Am I audible now?
Yes. आप फोन पर बोल रहे हैं, यहाँ सुनाई दे रहा है सबको.
ठीक है. मैं दिख भी रही हूँ शायद.
जी,
इको आ रहा है.
वीडियो भी आ रहा है. अब इको बंद हो गया, आप बोलिए.
ठीक है. We all know that the AYUSH sector has witnessed unprecedented expansion over the past decade, driven by rising domestic demand and global acceptance. However, for AYUSH to emerge as a central pillar of India's integrative healthcare framework and to position itself as a global standard setter, it is imperative to strengthen key foundations, the ecosystem, which mainly includes strengthening apex educational institutions to ensure excellence in teaching and clinical training. I like to quote one definition quoted in Vishnu Puran we all know that Sa Vidya Ya Vimuktaye. And the meaning of this is education which helps to liberate from ignorance. And I look Ayya institution, Ayya with this perspective only. The proposal to establish 3 new All India Institutes of Ayurveda builds upon the successful experience of Ayya Delhi, Satellite Center Goa, and other NIS. I think Madam Tanuja has mentioned earlier that these institutes have demonstrated their capacity to provide advanced tertiary healthcare, produce highly trained specialists, and undertake translational research, drug development, and standardized validation. I think expanding this model regionally will help address disparities in higher education and tertiary care, bridge the gap between undergraduate and postgraduate education, and set benchmark standards in integrative healthcare. Coming to the education reforms, I would like to communicate to you that the ongoing education reforms under NCISM are very much aligned with the government vision to strengthen the AYUSH workforce and improve the healthcare system in several ways. Significant education reforms in ISM, Indian System of Medicine, includes a competency-based curriculum integrating modern medical technology, clinical competencies, and research techniques with traditional Ayurvedic texts. Key initiatives which compass practical training modalities, student-centered pedagogical approaches, the provision of elective courses, specialized classroom training, and the implementation of continuous internal assessment mechanism. NCSM has introduced elective courses for undergraduate students and postgraduate students as a part of competency-based curriculum that we all know. These electives are designed to provide students with an interdisciplinary approach, allowing them to explore subjects beyond their core curriculum. And now we are planning to develop electives for practitioners too. So NCISM is focusing on faculty development program also. We have developed and executed capacity building program for teaching faculties, principals, PG students, which this program also includes the effective use of AI. And now we are planning to develop capacity building program for hospital staff. As we know, the tertiary healthcare focuses and refers to specialized advanced medical care provided by specialists and experts in a hospital or medical center settings. In India, it is typically provided by medical colleges, super specialty hospitals, and advanced diagnostic centers. Along with Ayya, NIS, all the medical colleges should be strengthened, and we have to handle them. I think it will be beneficial in this direction to strengthen the tertiary healthcare system. And when we talk about budgetary provision, we should allocate funds for all these medical colleges, including Ayya and NIA, for infrastructure development, which includes modern labs, animal house, simulation labs, etc., faculty development programs, research funding, international collaboration, digitalization, and student support. So that is all what I wanted to share with you. Thank you so much. And sorry for the interruption and the trouble.
Thank you.
No, your views are captured and everybody listen. Yeah. So good.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. How the regulatory steps are actually progressing and what should be the priorities for the Ayya. That is what you have suggested to us actually. Now the last panelist, but not the least panelist, actually Dr. Raman Mohan Singh. He is the director, Pharmacopoeia Commission for Indian Medicines and Homeopathy. So since you are actually leading the appellate laboratory, in the country. So how PCMH is contributing to strengthening the quality standards, pharmacopoeial monographs, and safety framework for Ayush drugs, particularly in the context of this budget announcement of drug testing laboratories. How you envisage what is the role of the PCMH in that actually? Whether it is a supervisory role or the capacity building role. So in what context you place PCMH in this DTL budget announcement?
Thank you, Dr. Raghu. Respected dignitaries, fellow panelists, and esteemed guests, good afternoon to you all. It is my privilege to speak with you today on behalf of the Pharmacopoeia Commission for Indian Medicine and Homeopathy. As we are the only subordinate office of the Ministry of Ayush, our commission stands at the forefront of ensuring the utmost quality in our ASU&H system of medicines. Our primary responsibility revolves around establishing robust pharmacopoeial standards and formulary specification for the Ayurveda, Siddha, Unani, and homeopathy systems. These standards do not only dictate the precise pharmacognostic, physicochemical, and phytochemical parameters required to establish the identity, purity, and strength of the ASU&H drugs. They also take care of valid global concerns on heavy metals, pesticides, aflatoxins, and microbial contamination also. By regulating these fundamental quality attributes, the standards ensures batch-to-batch consistency. Consequently, this rigorously maintained quality profile acts as a critical determinant that reliably correlates with the safety and therapeutic efficacy of the final medicinal products. They form the bedrock of consumers' trust and clinical success while driving substantial commercial benefits through increased domestic and international trade. Also operate as the central drug testing cum appellate laboratory for ASU&H system, mandated as per the Rule 163A of the Drugs Rules 1945, holding the distinct position of being the sole drug testing laboratory of the central government. PCIMH serves as the technical authority to resolve the regulatory disputes regarding drug quality and to uphold the most rigorous critical benchmarks. To sustain this critical mandate, our facility is well equipped with the advanced analytical infrastructure and is driven by the highly professional experts also in the field. Our state-of-the-art laboratory is furnished with the sophisticated instrumentation such as HPLC, UPLC, GC, GCMS, ICP, OES, and advanced microscopic units in the pharmacognosy. These technologies empower us to conduct comprehensive phytochemical profiling, detect heavy metals with absolute precision, and screen for pesticide residues or microbial contamination. This ensures that only the best medicine reach to the public. Furthermore, PCIMH holds an objective for capacity building through training programs on the quality assurance of ASU&H drugs. We carry out these programs periodically for the state and UT regulatory authorities, R&D professionals, for academia also, for industrial QA and QC personnel, and other interested stakeholders quarterly, that is 4 times in a year. Today's discussion is particularly focusing on the recent financial outline presented by the Honorable Finance Minister, Srimati Nirmala Sitharaman, on the 1st February 2026. When we examine the second and third announcements detailed in paragraph 58 of the budget, the Commission's vital role in realizing these goals becomes clear. Let us consider the current drug testing laboratory network. At present, it consists of our central laboratory at only the one central laboratory at PCIMH and about 35 state and UT laboratories, and roughly about 100 laboratories licensed under the Rule 160. When we compare this existing testing infrastructure to the massive scale of the AYUSH industry, comprising of around 8,000 manufacturers, the disparity is quite evident. The sheer volume of this sector is highlighted by the fact that India's AYUSH market valued crossed $40 billion in 2025, with exports of AYUSH products alone constituting about $700 million, further having a growth rate of more than 7%. This immense economic footprint is exactly why the upgrading of our drug testing laboratories and strengthening our certification system is important. A robust testing and certification ecosystem is absolutely essential to guarantee that every manufactured batch meets stringent quality parameters. Ultimately, establishing these robust mechanisms will facilitate the seamless promotion and propagation of AYUSH therapeutics and domestic as well as international levels. The budget has rightly pointed out this infrastructure gap, and we need to act collectively to bridge it. In response to these budgetary vision, PCIMH is fully prepared to be an integral part of the proposed 5 AYUSH hubs and to actively patronize the testing facilities proposed therein. Our patronage will translate into practical and continuous support. We intend to foster active knowledge exchange, standardize testing protocols across all hubs, and host the testing endeavors. By harmonizing the analytical methodologies across these hubs, we can create a decentralized yet unified network for quality control with PCIMH as a focal point. We are ready to help state and other drug testing laboratories to upgrade their infrastructure by providing essential technical inputs and effectively prioritizing their needs within the available budget allocation. These technical inputs include designing comprehensive plans for upgrading the instrumentation facilities along with their ideal specification. We also offer guidance on upgrading the physical laboratory infrastructure and assist in framing detailed proposals for both facility upgradation and the induction of required manpower. As infrastructure alone is not enough without skilled personnel, we also offer our expertise to train the manpower of the laboratories, industry professionals, and the stakeholders in quality assurance, quality control, and to sensitize them towards the associated regulatory provisions. We plan to roll this out to both region-wise as well as customized training programs. Furthermore, we acknowledge the crucial objectives to upgrade the WHO Global Traditional Medicine Center in Jamnagar to bolster evidence-based research, training, and awareness. PCIMH is thoroughly prepared to contribute to this pivotal initiative by imparting the essential training in collaboration with the GTMC for WHO member states. Expanding our global outreach, we have already conducted curated hands-on training sessions for worldwide WHO IRCH member states, WHO Zero member states, and regulators from the Philippines. These extension sessions focus rigorously on practical laboratory application, including the macroscopic and microscopic identification of raw material, advanced physicochemical analysis, and the systematic evaluation of safety parameters also. A similar training initiatives for Malaysia has also been formulated and will be scheduled soon to impart these critical regulatory and analytical skills. In addition to these capacity building efforts, we are involved in the International Herbal Pharmacopoeia Initiative under the WHO GTMC. As a member of its expert committee, we are committed to actively contributing towards establishing its core principles, framework, and building up the essential scientific data. This brings me to a critical point regarding the future of our sector. There is an urgent need for the global benchmarking of our quality standards to enhance our exports competitiveness. By aligning our formal pharmacopoeia standards and testing protocols with international expectations, we can confidently unlock global market for our manufacturers also. We firmly believe this collaborative efforts will be instrumental in establishing India's undeniable global leadership in the traditional medicine sector. PCIMH remains fully committed to elevating the quality standards of ASU systems. By working together to upgrade our testing infrastructure and empower our workforce, we can ensure that our ASU medicines meet the highest global standards of the quality, safety, and efficacy. Thank you very much and giving for time to me. Thank you.
Thank you for highlighting the role of the PCIMH in furthering this total drug regulatory systems in the country. So now we have already gone with one round of with all the panelists, and they have shared their very specific inputs how to basically ground and implement these budget announcements for the welfare of the people of our country. So now we will, with the permission of the secretary, we will have some questions from the audience actually. So I request the audience to have their questions now.
Hello, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Yeah, I'm Dr. Vijay, State Licensing Authority, Delhi, Ayurveda. I have a question with Dr. C.K. Katiyar, sir. May I please, sir?
Please go ahead.
How will a 5-region hub and spoke drug testing laboratory network, along with WHO GMP, NABL, AYUSH Quality Mark, and AWASI scheme, strengthen certification, export competitiveness, and international credibility, especially for MSME manufacturers, sir?
So, thank you, Dr. Vijay. Your question itself contains the answer. Answer is that when we have these good quality DTLs, they will be testing the quality parameters of these products. So if you remember long ago, there were no testing of heavy metals after till 2003 for export consignment. After that, we started that. So with the coming up of these 5 DTLs and spoken hub model, when the more and more samples will get tested, the emphasis on quality will go up. And once the emphasis on quality goes up, the country, you remember, even the country like Nepal do not accept any product from India without WHO GMP. Even Sri Lanka does not accept. So therefore, the effort of government on this DTL is going to encourage the industry also to graduate themselves, to upgrade themselves in terms of quality. And once they start graduating, then it is going to certainly help in the exports. Of course, the quality becomes very important. Adulteration, 2 things, remember. I say one step further. We should include the adulteration also in the scope of quality. And more important, herb drug interaction, at least for top selling 10 herbs from India. Herb drug interaction becomes very important. Because any patient in India of diabetes is taking neem, jamun and karela without knowing whether the level of his blood sugar coming down or not. So these testing lab may not be testing herb drug interaction, but these testing labs certainly will be should test the adulterants also, which should be used as a negative marker. You see, American Botanical Council has a dedicated program on adulteration identification. Right. So I think our quality approach in India with the DTL to first start on high level of quality, and second graduate to negative test, negative markers for adulteration. And if we do that, that will enhance the confidence of the international buyers, international community to buy the product from India. I think that's my answer to your question.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Katiyar sir, for that clarifications. Now, any other questions?
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Namaste everyone. Myself, Dr. Karthik from All India Institute of Ayurveda. Respected panelists. My question is to Professor Tanuja Nisri, madam, that she had already categorically explained how an ideal integrated healthcare setup should look like. So how can we utilize the current budgetary announcements to enhance the existing infrastructure for integrated healthcare in AYUSH? And the second component is the medical value travel. How can this budget be utilized for positioning India as a leading destination of medical value travel centered on AYUSH in the current health scenario? So that is my question.
I think again the answer is in your question, Dr. Karthik. Basically, in All India Institute and such institutions where national institutions and many good institutions, even in India, where there is a good hospital setup with the integrated setup, the Panchakarma setup is good, laboratory setup is good, and the documentation setup good. So we have Ministry of Ayush has created the AYUSH visa facility. If we promote the awareness and we can attract, because the international clients at even ITRA also we have seen many international study for 25 years, and in AYA also I think more than 300 patients they have visited. So in many other, or when there is a hygiene, cleanliness, good service, and supported with Panchakarma and laboratory diagnostics and good clinical services, I think all our Ayush hospitals can become the medical value travel. And when there is a wellness, so it is a care and cure program. We should have a clear-cut distinct wellness and care and cure program. Even for rehabilitation, clear-cut distinction can be done, and this can be leveraged. And ministry also can focus more on support this institution to develop this wellness facility and care and cure, upgrading the Ayush hospital infrastructure, which are already in the national institutions. That also can be done. And secondly, what you mentioned about the All India Institute, how it can be, what was your question, Dr. Karthik? It was how it can be the ministry's allocation budget. So ministry already provides the sufficient budget in terms of the capital building and also the infrastructure. More focus, maybe some budget which we have in GI general, the research budget is included into GI general, and many a times above for the salary component, consumable components, this separate research budget to academic activities will definitely earmark budget for the research activities will definitely foster the research activity. That was just one take. Because we have intramural research projects, extramural. So I think that would definitely foster our vision to have this all India Institutes of Ayurveda having the national importance, creating more evidence-based informed research that can support to policy. Thank you.
Thank you, Tanuja ma'am. So if any other participant want to make any questions, we have received one question here actually. What principles should guide the regional distribution and institutional design of the new IA-like institutes to ensure global standards and excellence? So any of the panelists can speak about that actually. What principles should guide the regional distribution?
Rajiv ji.
Yeah. So quickly, I think we already have in North India, we have in Delhi, we have in Jaipur, we have Western India, including Goa. So obviously, there is a need to look at the Eastern region and perhaps UP, Bihar in particular, one of those areas to look at the locationing of institute of this kind, and perhaps one in South India, if from the geographical distribution angle of the institutes. But having said that, I also wanted to add quickly that the way this would work is through the hub and spoke model. If you're able to envision these ideas being as centers of excellence, we're able to create innovation in those geographies and spur uniform development across the country with totally different weather patterns, disease patterns, and dietary. Everything is different in different parts of India. So we are able to leverage that. And quickly on one point on that MVT question from the previous question, I just want to add that it's dramatically changing today, right? If you want to make MVT in Ayurveda happen, I believe I've stated this in many, many fora that Ayurveda is a Brahmastra for India. It can completely differentiate from Tom, Dick and Harry globally. And Ayurveda is going to be that calling card, for which I wanted to connect with an earlier thing that demonstrate pilots. So if you're going to take one or two ideas, build around it an ecosystem of private sector, government, medical colleges, etc., where with the disease we are able to build evidence. We have to show that the community in that area is able to get better access and out-of-pocket expenses go down. So Rajeshji, the economic benefits, economic evidence is something you're not looking at. We should look at clinical evidence. We should also look at evidence of economics. Does it reduce out-of-pocket expense in the district? This can be very formally done. We have Ayushman Arogya Mandirs, we have these ayas. What does it do to reduce out-of-pocket expense for the people who are coming? right? If that is coming, then this integration into the NHP 2017 of Ayurveda as a mainstream system, even into ABP and JY, will become much, much more relevant, because today that economic evidence we are not building. So I want to say this will also effectively, last point, bring down cost to the exchequer of the budgets, because today our budget is 4,000 crores, the modern medicine is about 100,000 crores. Can we together show the synergies, bring down overall the government's investment? So we need to do pilots to demonstrate the power of this model that you are recommending on all counts, and do it regionally.
Thank you.
Raghuji, one point I raised. In Kerala, sir, the two initial center you already started now. One is Idiki, another means Kannur, IRA. 311 acre already acquired for the IRA's Kannur, and 300 crores already established for the government of Kerala. So I request one area is in Kannur, sir, IRA. So these areas both is combined. So All India Institute of Ayurveda, most of the system with South India will cover, especially in Kerala. So my suggestion to take initiative the government, one in especially in Kerala, because land is all is there, the fund is also there. So we can some initiative from the government of India Ayush Ministry to establish one in Kerala, that is particularly in Kannur or Idiki, sir. This is my humble suggestion.
Thank you. Lastly, I would like to seek some inputs from Dr. Geeta Krishnan on regulatory harmonization. So some of the panelists already mentioned. So GTMC is already taking some of the initiatives under the regulatory harmonizations, but how the Indian products and services can have that kind of global impact through these regulatory harmonization initiatives, which can be spearheaded by GTMC.
Thank you, Dr. Raghu. In fact, that was one major aspect of work which GTMC is trying to establish. GTMC would be able to create first of all, GTMC has a system or a platform called as International Regulatory Cooperation for Herbal Medicine, which includes already 47 member states, and there are many more member states ready to join. What is happening is we are helping these member states to work together to harmonize the way in which herbal medicines are regulated. And this would mean that what is regulated in India would automatically get a kind of acceptance or go through a more streamlined and well-oiled pathway into regulation into other systems of other health systems. Especially this could be done, as I had mentioned earlier, in the pre-qualification program. If you can create a framework and also a center which physically undertakes this kind of activities, where harmonized a product which has all the regulatory requirements through these harmonized mechanisms can be brought out. It means that it actually transcends many of these problems which it will be facing when it reaches separate regulatory systems. Since being in India, being in Jamnagar, this actually becomes a huge potential and advantage for India, because Indian companies would be able to directly work with the WHO GTMC through several centers which WHO GTMC is already collaborating with. For example, the ITRA is a collaborating center for WHO. In fact, there could be other collaborating centers, specifically on drug development, or could be on other systems, other issues of which are priorities for the government or for the country. So, and it also brings in possibilities for private health, industries and entrepreneurs to come and work with us. So that actually makes it a lot of additional benefit in terms of what Rajiv Vasudevan was saying as economic benefit to the country. So it immediately changes the way in which these resources and the capabilities are only available for very narrow streams of available within the government, but then it becomes available for the entire country and the population to use it. So these are the benefits that we can do. There is a way in which we are working towards this particular aspect, and of course we will be working together with the government of India to see how to establish that within Jamnagar as a pre-qualification center. And this will be further extension of the WHO headquarters work, where the medicines and vaccines pre-qualification center exists, but then traditional medicine pre-qualification center would require different technology, different material, and different facilities. So that would be established in Jamnagar, and that will be the primary aim that we will be moving forward with. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. So now we have almost completed our task of these discussions. So, after this elaborate sessions and some way forward, already we have got to have how this will be, the budget announcement will specifically translate into very specific actionable points. So based on that, I would now request Secretary Ayush to have the concluding remarks.
Thank you, Dr. Raghuji. Thanks all the panelists, esteemed panelists, distinguished officials from the central and state governments, heads of institutions, faculty members, students from the AYUSH institutions, director generals of our research councils, eminent AYUSH academicians and practitioners, leaders and representatives from the industry, colleagues from the Ministry of AYUSH and other AYUSH stakeholders, and participants who have joined us today. My namaste to all. I would like to thank all the speakers, the panelists, and participants for their valuable contributions for today's discussions. The deliberations in the breakout session were highly insightful and reflect the strong commitment of stakeholders towards strengthening traditional systems of medicine in India. Friends, today is an important day for the AYUSH sector. Earlier today, we know that we had a privilege of listening to the Honorable Prime Minister, who highlighted the need to strengthen India's healthcare ecosystem, expand human resources, and build inclusive and future-ready systems, while recognizing the important role of AYUSH in holistic health. Under the vision leadership of our Honorable Prime Minister Sri Modi ji and the guidance of our Honorable Minister Sri Prataparao Jadhav ji, AYUSH systems are receiving focused institutional support and strategic direction. Budget announcements are a very good example of that. Over the past decade, the Ministry of AYUSH has strengthened research, standardization, education, and global collaboration. So all these areas, there is a tremendous work has happened, but there is a lot of scope. We all learned from the esteemed speakers that there is a huge scope of improvement or addition into these efforts. These efforts has enhanced the credibility of AYUSH in holistic healthcare, not only nationally, but also globally. So from widespread public awareness is reflected in NSSO survey, which is released in 2024, January, and survey was done in 2022-23, which showed nearly 95% of rural and 96% of urban populations familiar with AYUSH systems, and out of them, 50% actually uses these systems for the healthcare needs. So this is huge. So looking at the size of our country of 1.4 billion, it is very huge. And the specific question was that whether they spend 1,000 rupee or more, 50% of them, they said yes. It means that it translates into more than 70,000 crore rupee. So it is very huge. So our studies also suggest that the size of manufacturing and service sector together is around $43 to $44 billion as of now, which is also very big. When we look at the earlier documentation, we have manufacturing sectors statistics available, which was roughly $3 billion in 2024. Now it is almost $24 to $25 billion. So these are the kind of statistics which help us to understand there is a strong undercurrent, and these efforts, this budget announcement will only help us to achieve more and to cater to this undercurrent. The momentum is further supported by integrated collaborative research and by initiatives such as the AYUSH grid. It was already discussed, and the MAISP portal, which is launched by Honorable Prime Minister, and the AYUSH research portal, which hosts more than 43,000 research papers. Friends, I'm not going to, again discuss about what were the budget announcements, because we had a great discussion. But these budget announcements collectively reflect a broader vision for this sector. The vision is not only to preserve and promote our rich traditional medical wisdom, but also to transform the sector into a contemporary, research-driven, and globally trusted healthcare system. The main purpose of this breakout session is to communicate the key announcements for this sector made in the union budget and ensure that the vision behind these initiatives reaches practitioners, institutions, industry, researchers, even to the students and the wide public. During this session, I had the opportunity to listen to the insightful remarks of the panelists and participants. I already requested the panelists to please also summarize your deliberations and your advices so that we get benefited out of it. The discussions highlighted important perspectives on education, research, industry development, standardization, and global outreach. These valuable inputs will help guide the Ministry of AYUSH in effectively implementing the initiatives announced in the budget. At the same time, it is important to recognize that the success of these initiatives will depend on the collective efforts of multiple stakeholders, academic institutions, research organizations, practitioners, AYUSH industry, startups, and the state governments all have an important role to play in strengthening the ecosystem. Minister of AYUSH remains committed to working closely with all these stakeholders to create an enabling environment that supports innovation, strengthens research, ensures quality, equity, and promotes global outreach. In conclusion, this year's union budget announcements mark an important step forward for the AYUSH sector and reaffirm the government's commitment to strengthening a credible traditional medicine ecosystem for the affordable healthcare and preventive wellness. With continued support from all the stakeholders, AYUSH will play a greater role in improving health outcomes and enhancing India's global leadership in traditional medicine. I thank all the esteemed panelists, moderators, and participants for their valuable contribution to today's webinar. Over to you, Dr. Raghuji. Dhanyavad.
Thank you, sir, for that valuable concluding remarks. So now we have concluded this breakaway session. So I would like to extend my warmest gratitude to all the, particularly the panelists who have given their very specific contributions to this discussion. So also to the way ahead to how to translate this budget announcements in the field. And similarly, all the participants across the country, even through the virtual channel, and we have also given access to YouTube channel also. So all the from the states and UTs, the research councils, the national institutes, the regulatory systems, and all the AYUSH ecosystem related people are actually joined in this webinar. So we would like to have your contributions, and also whatever your suggestions, what we have given so far, that will be collated and appropriately this will be taken forward. Thank you. Thank you.
One more thing, that all these panelists and participants, they are all again invited to join at 3:30.
Yes.
So they will be able to join as a participant, and at 3:30 there is a presentation summarizing the outcomes of the breakout sessions. This will be all the breakout sessions summaries. It will be summarized by honorable member Dr. V.K. Paul at 3:30. It will be a 45-minute session. And then at 4:30, all the concerned ministers, honorable ministers of these ministries, including the Honorable Health Minister, Honorable Minister of State for Skill Development, Honorable Commerce Minister, Honorable Minister of AYUSH, Honorable Minister for Social Justice, and also, the Health Minister. So all of these ministers will have their remarks also on these breakout sessions and on the deliberations of the entire day. So my request to all the participants and esteemed panelists to join again at 3:30, and these deliberations will be available on AYUSH Ministry's YouTube channel also, because the joining of this link is having a capacity of 1,000. So if somebody is not able to join, please look at this possibility of joining through YouTube channel also, so that you don't miss this opportunity. Thank you so much. Namaskar.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Keep you.